2026 season. Baseball playoffs, American League Division round. The Yankees come back from 5 runs down, beat the Blue Jays 9-6 and stay alive. Toronto still leads the series 2-1, and Seattle downs Detroit 8-4. Mariners lead that series 2-1. Don't miss the Browns preview show tonight, 7 o'clock, right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
The afternoon drive.
What if Joe Flacco looks good? Yeah. That's got to be the biggest thing that everyone has to wonder, right? And he's going to look better than he did with the Browns, because the Browns this season, he was one of the worst quarterbacks in NFL history if you just took the 4 games that he played. He's going to look better.
I hate everything about this trade.
Wait, why do you hate it? What's there to hate about it?
Turning a 6 into a 5th does nothing for me. It absolutely does nothing for me. I do think Joe has value as a backup and as a leader in that room. And even though I think this team stinks, and I've thought that this team was going to stink, you can't be saying things like we're trying to win and putting the best foot forward by trading one of your captains to a division rival, no matter if he's your backup or not.
The afternoon drive. Weekdays starting at 2. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
The Bengals are trading for Joe Flacco. Again, Bengals trading for Joe Flacco, according to Tom Pelissero and Ian Rappaport.
Wow.
No idea the return.
I think if the Browns thought they were giving the Cincinnati Bengals any air, they maybe wouldn't have made this deal quite so quickly. So that maybe tells you what they think Joe Flacco has left. Obviously, Flacco was no longer part of the Browns' plans.
The Browns decide to now have a quarterback room with 2 rookie quarterbacks and no veteran presence that's currently active on their roster as we are speaking. If you had told us all of this prior to the season in week 5, you'd be like, this is crazy, but it's the NFL. You never know.
This is Cleveland Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Audio courtesy of the NFL Network and Disney. And with that, we welcome you in to Week 9 of the 2025 NFL preseason. Good morning, friends. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, as we will evaluate rookie quarterbacks, and we will evaluate guys returning for eons and eons and eons. I can't wait. I tell you what, I can't wait for Saturday night. Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore. Oregon, Indiana. It's going to be a doozy. Something's got to dig me out of this. Did you ever wonder if you might have died in like 2000? What year did they go 10-7 and miss the playoffs? What year was that? Was that 7?
2007.
Yes. Do you think you might have died in like 2008, and then the rest is just your penance is searching for a quarterback? Do you ever wonder that?
I never have.
Not that Joe Flacco was that quarterback. Don't get me wrong. This is perplexing on a multitude of ways here. Now, I know I said a lot to you on the phone yesterday, and I had more time to think after it, because what's leading what? What is the plan? Do you have a plan? If they have a plan, what is the plan? Do you know what their plan is? And if you do have an idea, please tell. Other than we're just going to evaluate quarterback. It seems to be, Anthony, and maybe you want to do Champions Pose, it seems to be where they decided to do what you said years ago. And you said this in exasperation, by the way, I think. Because you say a lot of, crazy things. You say a lot you said this in exasperation where, hey, let's just draft a quarterback every single draft pick. And then we'll just play quarterbacks and we'll figure it out. And you should just throw a quarterback out there. And damn it, I think they're going to do that. I think there's a guy waking up today going to a workout somewhere in America, and he doesn't know it yet, but he's going to play for the Cleveland Browns this season at quarterback. I don't know who that is. It's morning in America, and somewhere some man is waking up, going on a workout, and at some point here in the near future, he's going to get a call from his agent. Guess what? What are you doing around Thanksgiving? Well, I got to baste the turkey. No, you're not. You're getting on a flight. Congratulations. You're going to play for the Cleveland Browns. You've wasted a preseason. The 4 quarterback thing was a total waste. I couldn't help but ask, like, after this last game, like, you barely threw the ball at all. You barely threw the ball down the field with Dylan Gabriel. So that told me that you definitely did not want to start Dylan Gabriel when you started Dylan Gabriel.
That was my take, too.
You believe fully that Joe Flacco is out of gas. That's why you were willing to trade away Joe Flacco, which, by the way, there is a very, very, very nice silver lining for fans here that I'm going to get to in just a second about trading Joe Flacco. You traded him to a team you've never made a trade with. Well, you tried to once. Thanks, Sashi. You trade him to a team you've never traded with. And my thought was, on Monday and Tuesday, why didn't they just keep Kenny Pickett if we're going to do this? If they're not comfortable yet, I got Daniel Jones, who I told you was a glorified running back. He's throwing the ball all over the place and looking great. Sam Darnold and Baker just had a shootout. Sam's looking good. Gino's a little bit rough. We'll find out Kenny Pickett soon enough, I guess. And I just thought, well, with all these retreads starting to find new life, why didn't we just decide to... I don't know. Guys, you know I'm not the world's biggest Kenny Pickett fan, but if we're just going to say what the hell and give it a whirl, why don't we just say what the hell and give it a whirl with Kenny? So you've wasted a preseason. And we will play Dion. We'll play Coach Prime coming up at 6:23. I want you guys to hear that on the rejoin, because I think if he's sick, if he's done with the Browns, if he's really like done with the Browns, or he's just talking his own version of coach speak, I got to agree with him, and I will tell you why coming up at 6:23. But you had Joe Flacco start the season. You jettisoned him. So clearly the whole attempt to get the veterans going, that's out the window. Okay, goodbye. You had Kenny Pickett already gone, even though you clearly wanted to start him to begin the year. That didn't work out because of a hamstring injury of all things. You have a guy who you had throwing to ball boys less than 2 months ago, and now he, on your unofficial depth chart on your game release, he's listed as the number 2 QB. Now, I got to tell you guys, don't come after me. I don't want to tell you the bad news altogether. And I'm sorry, I'm taking a lot of air out of the room, and I'm going to turn my mic off here in just a second, Tone. I'm sorry. Like Rap Sheet had written and Pelissero had written on Sunday that they want to give Shador a full week to get ready. So it still leads me to believe that, yeah, I know what that depth chart looks like. I may hope, because I like Shador. I want to see what anybody has. But I would probably think that Bailey Zappi will still end up being put on your active roster, and then he will be the primary backup for this football team if you had to break the glass and go to somebody to finish a football game. None of this goes anywhere to making any sense at all. Okay, I'm sorry. I've spoken too much.
Hold on. You think Zappi will be installed as the backup once he's on the roster? Mm-hmm. Whoa, people are going to lose their minds if that's the case.
I know.
And remember, we had Ross Tucker on the afternoon a couple of weeks ago, and he's like, "Oh, if you really want Shador to succeed, you don't want him to be the backup right now." So that was only 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. So unless Shador,
was that 2 weeks ago or last week? I thought it was last week.
Was it last week?
I thought it was. Maybe I'm wrong. He might have said it both weeks for all I know. But people are going to be mad, and because I tweeted, and there were a lot of people right after they put out the depth chart on their game notes that, well, Shador's number 2, and I go, yeah, I know, because Bailey's not actually on the roster. And I think they're probably going to make a move, put him on the active roster. He'll be the primary backup to Dylan Gabriel. And eventually Shador's going to get his shot, but they're going to go a whole week, because making him the backup and putting him in a different offense, as they have put out there to Pelissero and Rap Sheet, who have written about it, that tells me that no, he's not going to come in a break unless Bailey Zappi were to then go down. Like, it's not what I advocate for, guys. I don't think Bailey Zappi has any future with this football team. I'd love to see what Shador Sanders has, but I think that that's what they're going to do.
Kenny, what did we all say when we're playing schedule game, when we were looking at what it was likely going to be? We all said gauntlet of a schedule to start out the year, correct? Yeah. We all said that?
Yeah.
Didn't most people, if you would have asked after 5 games, didn't most people say, 1-4? And if things go right, 2-3.
Uh-huh.
Isn't that what most people said? So that part of this cannot have shocked them, that this is their record, especially starting all the rookies that they're starting. Guys, it's been an awesome rookie class. These guys all would not start on most teams on game 1. They just wouldn't. Like, Pittsburgh's had a bunch of good rookies that they've drafted over the years that does not start week 1 because when they were really humming and everything, because they were really good. We're starting the rookies instantaneously. because of the roster setup, because you had more holes than ever after last year. And your salary cap was where it was at.
I listened yesterday to Albert Breer. I totally agreed with what Albert said. And sometimes I disagree, based on theory and things like that. But I thought he hit it out of the park yesterday on Afternoon Drive. You can go back and listen to that at 923thefan.com. He said, you are seeing the ramifications of the 3 first-round draft picks you lost, but also I do believe that there is quality with these players. And he said there is a difference between, hey, we're not going to be good. The rookies are going to get snaps. There's a difference between playing the rookies, getting the snaps, and seeing guys that already you want to sign.
But like Dylan Sampson,
I think there's probably 3 guys at least you want to sign and make long-term Cleveland Browns.
Oh, sure. But like Dylan Sampson would not have started on most NFL teams week 1.
He wouldn't have started week 1 on this team if it weren't for Quinton Judkins.
That's what I mean. Then he got all those touches. Everyone's like, whoa, Dylan Sampson. It's like, this wouldn't have happened anywhere else. It just showed you the state of the Browns. Like, we were not expecting to truly win. I think it showed you the state of the
Browns offense, yes.
Yeah, we were not truly expecting to win a ton of games.
You're right.
Right off the bat. So 1-4 is, I think, even the most delusional homer cheerleader Browns fans were like, 1-4 is probably what they are. So,
are you calling me a delusional cheerleader homer Browns fan? Because I
kind of said 1-4.
Remember leading up. Yeah, but I said leading up to the. I didn't know at the beginning of the season we would start. I'll admit that, but I went from 6 wins. Oh, God.
No, you were excitable.
No, the fans got mad because they said that we weren't rah-rahing enough the week before, and I got upset, and then I started to talk myself into it, and that's what happened.
And now it's basketball season.
I'm manipulated.
So
easily manipulated.
But either way, like 1-4, we said before the season started, like, this is a really tough schedule if they can just weather the storm. And then it was, well, why? We had these conversations that week. Why are we starting Joe Flacco? We didn't get a huge debate over it at the time because we were hearing Shador's not remotely close, and none of us really liked Dylan Gabriel all that much. And then Kenny Pickett was sent away because of the injury. And then the news started trickling out like, oh, no, Kenny Pickett, there's a reason that was the first guy they picked up. They really wanted Kenny Pickett. Kenny Pickett was the guy that was going to start. I know there were also like Kirk Cousins rumors, although, like, salary-wise, they really didn't have any money under the cap, so I don't even know how they would have pulled that off, maybe some gymnastics. But then when that pipe dream died, then it was, well, Kenny Pickett. All right, that makes sense. Well, then the hamstring injury came. And so now we have this weird quarterback competition. We're divvying up the reps for running 3 football fields. We can't really get a straight answer on if it's a fair competition or it's not. Then we found out through their actual behavior it is not a fair competition whatsoever. It's actually 2 guys starting for the starting job, and then that wasn't a competition because of what happened with Kenny Pickett's injury. And then you had Shador and Dylan battling it out, where Dylan was apparently way ahead to start out anyway in the minds of the Browns. That leads us to now. As of yesterday on the depth chart, Shador was the backup. I know what you said about Bailey Zappi. We'll find out. But you've had...
Guys, I don't like saying it, for the record.
You've had Shador basically go from 4-string to backup on paper, doing what? The extra 10 reps at the end of practice?
Throwing balls to wide receivers at Baldwin Wallace?
Yeah.
Almost called Balding Walrus because of the nickname. Sorry, folks.
So it's not like, fine, Shador's put in the work that he's been able to put in, but these practices have been about getting Joe Flacco ready to win games, and then last week it was about getting Dylan Gabriel to win games. So now the starting job, it's Dylan Gabriel's, but for how long? We don't really necessarily know. We do get to see Joe Flacco on Thanksgiving now, so that's exciting. And then do you think there's a chance in hell that week 18, the Bengals versus the Browns, do you think we'll see Joe Flacco? Probably not.
Who knows? Why would I be surprised?
I don't know. It's just...
I don't know how Joe Burrow's toe's going to do.
That's true. That's
Somebody said it was completely separated off the... that sounds awful. Who knows?
Maybe him and Dion are seeing the same doctor. Either way, so we are to the point of the season, 5 weeks in, where most important position in sports is the quarterback, and it looks like the Browns and the Brain Trust, and even if they got it right with this rookie class, it almost makes me think they backed into it. Like, what's the process? If this is the process for the most important position in sports, what is your process
I want to actually
up
see,
and down?
Can we leak new guardrails? Because I need to see some sort of a plan. I got to see some sort of a plan because it's just turned to it shall present itself. Like, we're just going to exist, and then by the end of the season, there will be something there. I don't know, guys. I really wish it. 216-474-0092. If you have a plan for any of this, fine. Can I tell you this?
Maybe
though?
the plan is just they hope Dylan Gabriel takes off.
For we've spent the first 2 days of this show ripping Kevin Stefanski after that game, and there's been a lot of people going, finally you guys have seen the light. And I'm like, hey guys, I understand. This is what you're going to have to become a football guy here, and not just Browns fans. You're going to have to be a guy who observes the league. And I know that a lot of you do already, so I'm not trying to call anybody out or tell everybody to get on the ground, anything like that. You're going to want to really observe what's going on in Cincinnati, because they clearly think, and you played that clip, was that Judy Batista?
Correct.
Okay, they clearly think he's out of gas. So I'm going to tell you right now, what do we all think of Zach Taylor?
Yeah,
Not much. What do we think of the offensive line of the Cincinnati Bengals? I mean, at one point on Sunday, Jamar Chase had more tackles than he did receptions. If Joe Flacco goes down there, who this team thinks is out of gas, and he plays any modicum of passable football and they can win, which he does, he would already have 2 way better weapons than anything he has here. That's granted, fair. If he goes down there and plays a modicum of good football, not just even passable, because like Dylan was passable and did fine, and I have hope that Dylan can be a 10-year guy in this league. I don't know about starter, but you get what I'm saying. If he plays a modicum of good football, it's just another thing that the anti-Stefanski crowd can use and say, guys, look, you call him a QB guru. You have Old Man River down there, literally on the river now, playing well. So you can watch the Bengals, and if Joe does well, there you go. There's more evidence. These guys don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, he's not allowed.
More evidence. The offensive guru ain't no guru.
He can't be good. He can't be good. If he's good there, then this is even a bigger mess than we are thinking.
We went from watching the Browns and the Jaguars to now the Browns, Jaguars, and Bengals, and I think a lot of people are paying attention to a particular team in the NFC South as well. So, guys, we got a lot of football. You think just because the Browns are 1-4, we're done watching football? You got more football than you ever thought you could watch. Bring out the all-22, guys, because we're all football guys now. And, hell, I may trust y'all more than what the guys are actually doing it are doing. Holy Toledo. Good for Joe, I guess. Coming up next, it's not a question of if, it's when he'll play. And no, I am not talking about Shador anymore on that one. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app.
92.3.
one, heating, cooling, and plumbing.
Smiley, One, and Brian, doing whatever it takes. This is the radio home of the Cleveland Browns.
Here we go, Brownies! Here we go!
92.3 The Fan. When you want the latest on the Browns, we're the station you turn to first. 92.3 The Fan is Cleveland's home for breaking sports news. Your teams, your station.
I don't care. I don't give a damn about the Browns at all. I care about the Colorado Buffaloes. I do love me some Shador Sanders, don't believe that. I care about him. The rest of that mess, I don't. I'm a coach trying to win just like they're trying to win games, but I could care less if they traded.
That's Deion Sanders in his press conferences, weekly press conferences. They get ready to take on the Cyclones, Tone. Colorado University. Is it University of Colorado or Colorado? Because I know it goes by CU. Either way, head coach of the Buffs. So I'm a man torn, but I got to go with my allegiances. I'm sorry, Coach Prime. When I heard that, our group chat started to fly around yesterday afternoon, and I was like, well, Coach Prime has his own version of Coach Speak, and he's trying to win ball games. I mean, his I don't know if his back's against the wall for crying out loud, but he's trying to win some football games here. This is tough. This is a tough year. He's gone through a lot of health battles and things like that. But then somebody asked, I think it might have been Owen, it's like, you think he's done with the Browns? And I go, you know what? If I were Coach Prime and he was my son, yeah. Now, you could say, well, this is what you wanted. You wanted a chance to play. Yeah, he'll get a chance to play soon. But you had your two guys that you signed first. They're gone. You spent training camp having my son throw to guys who were ball boys, and then he's getting extra reps and God knows what. And it's not about, again, I do believe that they will put Bailey Zappi in as backup quarterback, and that's going to get everybody upset. It's not something I like saying. It's something I believe they're going to do. But if you don't do that, you're now going to put him in a position where he's got to run an offense that he's not accustomed to, and now he hasn't had the practice of doing so. So your preseason, your training camp was a mess. Or it's become a mess because of what you've done now during the year. And now you're putting my son at a disadvantage. That's what I would believe if I were Deion Sanders, because I'm not Shador Sanders' dad. I'm an observer. Do you believe that they put Shador Sanders in a place to succeed so far? No. So obviously, if I were Deion and he was my son, I'd be pretty upset. Yeah, because you want to go to a place that, yes, you can play early. Okay. But you still want to be able to trust the people that were there. And in April, hey, I know what Browns fans thought of Kevin Stefanski, but a lot of people around the league and a lot of people around the game of football trusted Kevin Stefanski. Now, that's changing, and we'll have some audio coming up from Bruce Arians later on in the show. But at that time, you wanted to trust it, and here you are. All the things that you hear about the Cleveland Browns, if you're Deion Sanders, all the things you may have known about the Cleveland Browns if you're Deion Sanders back when you were on NFL Network are coming to fruition. So you bought into the system, and now, because you gave it a chance, here we go. And we're going to go on this wild ride. And the only person who can change it is Shador. That's it. And now we have to have a conversation about somebody who the fans certainly don't want to see. But you go ahead and what you were going to say about Deion here.
Well, it's like, obviously their situation is so interesting because the cameras have been on the Sanders, all throughout. And everybody's been wondering, when is Shador actually going to get a shot? When there were 4 quarterbacks, people were led to believe that there was like a fair competition because the coaches said it, which I think if they had it back, I'd like to think they would communicate it very differently, because there was never a shot for Shador Sanders or Dylan Gabriel to start week 1. That was like an impossibility. The people in the locker room all knew that. It's almost like they were like, oh, we're gonna trick the media, but they forgot they're also speaking to the fans. When they talk to us, they're actually talking to the fans. We're just kind of in the middle of it. We're the conduit, right to them.
Yeah.
But in the end, that was never the case. And looking back, like if you were to power rank all the quarterbacks that they've already been through this year, and you're adding Kenny Pickett. Okay, Zappi's in here now. They've also got was Tyler Huntley, here in the preseason. I mean, think about, and then now Deshaun Watson.
Forgot about
Is that 7 quarterbacks? Yeah. I'm not even trying to tell jokes here. Is that 7 quarterbacks?
I totally forgot about him.
Guys, I used to give Andrew Berry.
That's more than the DBs. Usually have a plethora of DBs.
I was giving them the benefit of the doubt because 2020 was miraculous. If you think about how many teams did not deal with the adversity of 2020, Browns did. They stepped right up, and then they won a playoff game. That was awesome.
Well, they were organized.
They were
more organized than what Freddie was.
Yes, they were more organized than most of the NFL.
Not fair.
That's why Kevin Stefanski got Coach of the Year, and that's why people are like, "Whoa, Andrew Berry." Okay, and then fast forward, a few years ago, and then there were bumps in the road. Obviously, we've litigated all that. Then a few years ago, when you looked at the guys that were on the team at the end of the year that helped with the playoff push. And the Cleveland Browns had gone to the playoffs twice with one coach. Yeah, that's why he won Coach of the Year. They call it the soft bigotry of low expectations. That was absolutely the case. The second time around, it's like, well, the Browns they have no shot this year. And then with Nick Chubb injured, with a new kicker that comes in, and the whole team, it's like, whoa, Joe Flacco is just going to help this team down the stretch, the final however many weeks, and put up 300 yards. 300 yards. Can you imagine a Browns quarterback today putting up 300 yards when Dylan Gabriel had 146, until the Hail Mary situations?
Boy, it's a hell of a year when you are the one quoting George W. Bush. Lord almighty.
So think about all of that. Like, I had reason to give Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski credit.
Yeah.
I had a ton of reasons. It's kind of off the board now. Like, I don't know how to give the brass any credit when the most important position in sports, it dictates everything. It dictates how everything goes in this community in Northeast Ohio, how you're going to feel about your life is on the quarterback. And this is your situation.
Well, if we do revisionist history,
this is your quarterback situation.
And we do all that all the time. I mean, I could go ahead and start to take the boxing gloves off and really go after it, because if it is revisionist, it's exactly what you said. Now, I would love to say back in 2020, like, oh, he won the award because of what he did in 2020 because of COVID and everything like that. But it's exactly what you said. Do you win the award because of the job you did, or just because of the ineptitude of what came before you?
Some of it.
Is that it? When Dan Orlovsky says that and he goes, well, he'll be hired tomorrow. Okay, good luck. Good luck. Because it's starting to look more and more. It's starting to look more and more like, no, you'll be a victim as a head coach of an organization just like everybody else. So, like, if you went and got hired by the Jets, Aaron Glenn didn't become an idiot from one winter all the way now to this fall. He has a terrible team with a terrible organization. He didn't become an idiot, but he'll be a victim of ineptitude more than likely. I think Kevin would just be that way. That's what's made Dan Campbell so exciting, because you've pulled that ship out of the dock and actually got it to go. That's why we look at these coaches in this way. I mean, you look at the 49ers. I hate to say it. Look at what the 49ers were before Kyle Shanahan. You had the run with Jim Harbaugh, but in between that, you had garbage, absolute garbage. They went through a terrible period there, and you were able to get that back on track. Like, there's things that coaches do, and that's why they're really held in high esteem. So when it comes to Coach of the Year, hey, that's fine, but that just becomes something that we like to go after each other on if we're making an argument against a coach or trying to make an argument for a coach, because we just can't believe that we're still trying to wrap our heads around processes instead of wins and losses. And the problem is you're not getting the wins, and your fan base and people around the league don't understand your process. Before, people would understand the process and say, no, these guys, they know what they're doing. You need to give them a chance. What is this process? Albert Breer is no Kevin Stefanski hater, Andrew Berry hater. He said he was surprised by that. And then, you get to this conversation that we're going to have here at 6:43. We got Jason joining us at 7 o'clock. Jason Lloyd, the great one. He will join us coming up at 7 o'clock. Yeah, it's amazing. I just called him the great one, but here we are. Jason from The Athletic will join us at 7 o'clock. I've called him the Culligan man. I'll have to see, because none of this goes anywhere but to a question mark. There's nothing here that leads me into the future, other than, guys, I hate to tell you, guys playing on Saturday, and I don't even know if those guys are. That's why, like, if you want to get mad at the whole Mac Jones thing, guys, buckle up. Hell, they've had 7 quarterbacks here this year so far. I forgot about Tyler Huntley. You're right about that. Who knows what the future holds in store for us?
How many more?
For next year. We got Jason coming up. I want you guys to hear Albert Breer on this, because If you think you were mad now, you're about to be pretty angry. Coming up here at 6:43 on The Fan.
Anthony Lima for Floors with a Z, and this time of year, that crisp fall air is out there. And then you come on in, you're bringing some of the leaves, some of the dirt, then maybe it turns into mud. And you want to make sure that your carpeting is pet-proof, child-proof, and spill-proof. Who can help you out? Well, that's Floors with a Z. Of course, Brian Erickson and everybody over there, especially right now, where you can get $1,000 in rebates on luxury carpet and flooring with National Karastan month plus 3 years. No interest financing. It is awesome, especially
Join today and save 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up and save 5 cents every day. Get member-only offers and stackable fuel savings in the palm of your hand. Find it in your app store, True North stores, and True Rewards. Fast, friendly, clean.
Talk sports deep into the Cleveland night. Overtime with Jake Volnick. Weeknights at 7. Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Jason Lloyd going to join us 7 o'clock. 216-474-0092.
Not to throw a big wrench.
Oh, do it.
I had up on one of the websites up, and I was like, oh man, Yankees are down 3-0. It's showing Vladimir Guerrero Jr. with highlights. I didn't realize the Yankees came back and won last night.
Yeah, Aaron Judge had a 3-run home run.
I had no idea.
A crazy home run on an inside pitch.
I'm sorry. This is what happens when you start watching Ed Gein. You become engrossed in a different world. Oh, it's Gein.
Yeah. I say it wrong myself.
When I've had that. That's the bonding time I'm getting with my wife right now. We only have an allotment of 1 hour. That's all we get.
That's what you've
chosen. And so I'm like,
chosen?
well, I'm watching playoff baseball and the Cavs thing we'll get to a little bit later on. I'm like, oh my God, I guess I should have stuck with it, or at least had it on a tablet or something.
The guy who made lampshades out of women's skin?
Kenny, that's just a fraction of the fun and frivolity with Ed Gein.
He's one of my 3 most well-known Wisconsins.
Oh,
if you want to power rank the people I know from Wisconsin,
I know where you're going.
You go right on ahead, my friend. Number 1, Jeffrey Dahmer. Yes, I know exactly where he's from, but still, I give him to Wisconsin.
They get to claim him?
Number 2, Ed Gein. Number 3, Joe Thomas.
Yeah.
Both Joe Thomas and Ed Gein have field dressed something. Just saying.
Yeah. There's commonality there.
They both know how to field dress. I want you guys to hear this from yesterday on Afternoon Drive.
No love for Tammy Baldwin, huh?
Here's Albert Breer making a murderer, by the way.
Another one.
Joe might be a little weirder than we thought he might be. Here's Albert Breer yesterday on...
check out that Wagyu.
Guys, don't just... Liz... I swear to God, Liz was thawing it out this morning.
Oh, she was. We were talking about it.
Yes. She's going to make something real yummy tonight. Here is Albert Breer on who starts more games. Boy, this is a real laughing matter. Deshaun or Shador?
As weird as this whole quarterback situation is, it has been, and I haven't checked in, but I know there was a thought that Deshaun was going to get cleared at one point, like it was going to be late October, early November. I don't know if that's still the rough timeline that they're working on. Again, I haven't checked in on that in a while, but I mean, if Deshaun gets back into the practice setting, I think there's a pretty decent chance that, like, it starts to show up in practice. Like, he looks like he might be the best option. So we'll see what happens. And I felt this way all along. I mean, let's just take Shador Sanders' last name out of it. Who does the Browns franchise have more invested in? Who does the Browns franchise have a better chance of getting it right long-term with? I think it's still Deshaun.
Do you think that's true?
No, I haven't thought that. But Albert has been...
Do you think that's true, though? You haven't thought about it, but do you think it's true? Because Nick and Jonathan both disagreed, and Albert's not there for an argument. He's not going to do it. But I haven't agreed with Nick and Jonathan. I go, the other guy, it's not just how he's played recently, it's also the injuries.
The injuries.
And Albert's answer was, well, he's also been the guy on the roster to show Flash is a great play. I go, so did Joe Flacco at one point in his career. So did Carson Wentz at one point in his career. Like, to me, that's not the thing. I'm much more comfortable trying to invest in seeing what I have in Shador Sanders than Deshaun Watson. I am over this whole thing.
Well, and also the baggage of how the community feels about him at this point, which, again, let's not be hypocritical. If he would have been good, the community would have followed. Like, that's just how it works in sports.
I understand that.
But in the end, it's hard for me to envision him ever being actually good at football again, considering where he was, not just mentally, where it looks like he had lost it. He had just gone from a top 5 quarterback in the league and turned into somebody who couldn't play the position, couldn't process, couldn't see the field, couldn't run an offense, couldn't do any of those things. And then, oh, by the way, how many surgeries has he had in the last 3 years?
Well, I got to tell you, on Sunday, like that's still going to have a lot to do because I'm going to tell you right now, Joe Flacco, who the hell do they play? They play Green Bay. If they go and they play Green Bay, and if Joe Flacco plays, which, my God, I don't know any reason why he wouldn't. Jake Browning is not good at all. What is their other options that they have? They released a quarterback yesterday down there as well.
Mike White?
If Joe Flacco goes down there and plays, I forgot he was in the league. If he goes down there and plays well, I think it definitely opens up more of the Deshaun Watson conversation because you sit there and you go, now, wait a minute. Joe Flacco seemed to be held back in some way by Kevin this year, and this is recent. I understand what he did in 2023. But you go, well, he was held back. Maybe it is on Kevin. You know, you start to talk yourself in all these things because, again, you can go find another head coach. You still are on the hook for, I don't know the number. It seems to grow or whatever every single year. It goes with the gross domestic product of any country you could think of. But there seems to be, $92 million left on the hook or whatever it's going to be after that, $46 million a year. It's you start to talk yourself into things, and I think you'll start. Anything's possible in a year like this. We've already proven. So you can definitely talk yourself into such a thing if Joe Flacco were to go down there and play well. The only problem is that if you were to bring back Deshaun Watson, well, now your any hope you have in Kevin Stefanski is taking a big hit now. So you just think I'll think I'm just going to get more of the same. Why would I think that he's going to play better if I do believe he's being held back by the guy who's calling the offense, by the guy who's in charge of it? My issue has been, and this has been a long time coming with the Cleveland Browns, and I brought this up many, many times before. We are all jumping lily pads to affix blame. That's all it's been. You go from the beginning of Paul DePodesta, and it's all become a big thing of who to affix blame to. And then here comes Joe. And by the way, he's been blamed because you brought in John Dorsey, and then John Dorsey was blamed, and then you have Andrew Berry who was blamed. Then we blamed Baker Mayfield. Then we blamed Odell. Then we blamed Andrew Berry. Then we blamed Deshaun Watson, and then we blamed Ken Dorsey. Now we finally have arrived on the head coach of the football team, where honestly it's. You got 3 first-round picks that you're missing. You got 2 coming up here. I don't know whether they're coming or going. I wish I could tell you how I would dig out of this thing. This is unseen. Yeah. And you think about the things we've seen in 14 years doing this.
Were you getting the similar text that I was yesterday? Man, I got way more texts yesterday than I did actually during the Browns game this week. I got a lot of texts like, what'd you guys think? Of course they're trying to lose this year. They were never trying to win football games this year, as if they were actually, in years past when we were like, oh, we have the contention window and, it's all set up. And, Vegas had us at 4.5 wins this year anyways. That's what I'm getting from my buddies.
Because we're trying to make ourselves feel better.
Why were you guys ever thinking they were really trying to win football games this year?
There's going to be hope at the beginning of any season. I don't care. There's still going to be. I told you about a guy who was yelling at us on social media and then cussing out the Browns account on his own right later on in the season. People want to believe that the team that they invest their time and sometimes their money and sometimes a lot of their money in want to believe that maybe they're going to do it. And remember, the last 2 times the Browns made the postseason, they were not expected to come anywhere near the postseason. They were not expected. So now when you've made the postseason when nobody took you to, why wouldn't you think there's a possibility on September 6th? Why wouldn't you think there's a chance? And then it starts to come in and we start to save ourselves our feelings in the best way we possibly can. And I've done the same thing. By the way, there's people going, Ken, you have to admit that Watson's going to play now. I hope we all know this. He's going to see the field. You're not going to like it. He's going to see the field now. Yeah, I've made my peace with all of it. I thought, man, you're going to put him out there. You're going to upset your fan base. They're going to boo him. And I'm going to go, well, you only have so many options now. Great. 216-474-0092. Coming up next, Jason Lloyd from The Athletic. He joins us on the show. What did he think? What did he see before this? And what on earth is the plan from the man I call the Culligan Man? Jason Lloyd going to join us next on The Fan.
Anthony Lima for Diamonds Direct, corner Richmond and Cedar Road. Everyday essentials to extraordinary statement pieces. They've got you covered at Diamonds Direct. From the moment you walk through the door, truly treated like a VIP. It's an awesome experience, and it's what truly sets them apart.
surgery on his right elbow, and he's expected to miss the entire 2026 season. Baseball playoffs, American League Division round. The Yankees come back, beat Toronto 9-6. Yankees cut Toronto's lead in that series to 2-1. Seattle downs Detroit 8-4. Mariners lead that series 2-1. Don't miss the Browns preview show tonight, 7 o'clock, right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
All the Browns and NFL news you may have missed at work. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan.
Back on the fan. What's the plan? I don't know, Tone, you try to say, but he doesn't know, neither does Owen. Maybe Jason Lloyd knows. He's the Gulligan man. He joins us right now on the Fan Hotline. Hello, Jason.
Knock it off. I did not get up this early for that crap.
Well, you got up early for certain reasons, and that's maybe by the end of this to defend your guy. I don't know. Maybe Kevin needs defended by Jason. I don't know. Hey, man. Okay, let's get to it. How surprised were you that Joe Flacco got traded?
Really? The only thing that surprised me was the fact that, probably last time I checked on Shador was a couple weeks ago, and the impression I was left with was he's not ready and he's not close. So that's what threw me on this. I told you guys over the summer when I thought Flacco was the odd man out. How they've handled this whole thing only confuses me. How they handled Kenny Pickett confuses me. I thought he was the starting quarterback. Told you guys I thought he was the starting quarterback. Then he pulls a hamstring, so you trade him instead of carry. DeAndre Carter was really that important to you that you didn't carry 4 quarterbacks. So that's the part. I'm not totally surprised that we got here with this room looking the way that it is. It happened a little bit earlier in terms of getting rid of all of the veterans. Happened a little bit earlier than I thought. And again, just the Shador component is what sort of surprised me a little bit. But I think more than anything, this is how they feel about Dylan Gabriel right now. I think they saw him on a challenging week, going overseas on a disrupted practice week, going against a pretty good defensive coordinator who was the runner-up for the job here. And I thought Dylan established himself well, and it appears to me that everyone in that building said, "Okay, let's go."
Jason established himself well. He ran a game plan and an operation that was out of the 1950s. They didn't ask him to do anything. You don't think 100 other quarterbacks could do exactly that?
What are you looking for? It's the kid's first start. He's a third-round rookie. Yeah, no, listen, he's not playing like Mahomes out there. Yes, they kept the guardrails on for sure, but I thought he played fine.
The Giants let Jackson Dart do more than what they did.
I thought he played. Jackson Dart's a first-round pick, Anthony.
Exactly.
Okay.
You think he played poorly?
Wait a second. No, I didn't say
played poorly.
I didn't say poorly. I said their biggest plays were screen plays. On anything third down and above 6, he threw the ball 8 yards out of bounds 2 different occasions. He was not anything to start building the future around. Listen, they couldn't have possibly seen that.
I've never said he's going to be the quarterback for the next 10 years. I don't think that's the case. But they're just trying to get through the end of the season.
Well,
on October 8th.
What it looked like to me too.
I've told you guys all year this is not a good football team. They're not going to win a lot of games. Winning games is not the priority this year. I told you guys that in June and July. It was obvious.
Then why would they do it? Then why would they have a guy who? I want to run the Bailey Zappi theory by you, but let's just go by what they got listed right now. Why would they have the guy who's in October before week 6? Who is their primary backup now? Why was he throwing to ball boys less than 2 months ago? Why did he have to go over to Baldwin Wallace and throw to wide receivers over there to get extra work in? What does that make? It makes sense of that, please. You can't do it. Nobody can do it. They couldn't.
I'm not trying to make sense. I don't know why they took him. We said that at the time. If you're going to carry 4 quarterbacks, then carry 4 quarterbacks. And they didn't. They went all through training camp. They told everyone they're going to carry 4, and then they traded Pickett. And that's the one they probably should have kept. over Joe.
Yeah. I mean, I was wrong. I'm willing to admit I was wrong. Now, I thought they should have kept Joe because of the veterans, and I do think the veterans, to start the season like Joe, I want to know what they're thinking this morning as they get ready to drive in. Well, probably a lot of them are already there. But Jason, I'm sorry, I'm just running a lot of things by you because I'm trying to make sense of this. And I'm like, well, I look around the league, and I know Geno Smith's starting to come down here, but Daniel Jones is looking good, and Sam Darnold and Baker just had a shootout, and that was a lot of fun. And I go, well, I'd much rather kick the tires on Kenny Pickett than see what this is where I'll meet Anthony halfway. I really think they ran a ultra conservative offense because they did not want Dylan Gabriel to start so soon, and I thought, then why did you just let Kenny Pickett go then? What was the point of that?
You're not going to get any pushback from me on any of that. And I thought Dylan, for what they asked him to do, no, it wasn't a ton. I thought he was fine. And I think they're going to continue to. I think they're going to continue. Now, listen, now you're going into Pittsburgh on the road. Like, that's one of the worst things to do to a rookie mid-round quarterback is to throw him out there in a situation like that. But whatever, this is their situation there, and he has to go play. And he's expected to play well. But again, like, we're so early, and I know it feels late. There is so much football left to go. I absolutely, everybody, this is what's funny about all this to me is everybody knew, I think you guys said it, I know we were saying it, this could be an 0-6 start. Look at this schedule. Look how front-loaded the schedule is. This is a brutal start for the Browns. Well, guess what? They're 1-4 with one more to go. So we knew it was bad. It's just when you're sitting in the fire, it hurts a little bit more than you were expecting. But once you get through this gauntlet of these first 6, there are wins out there on the schedule. This team is not going to be 1-16 or 2-15 or 3-14. I absolutely believe. Now, I don't know, not saying they're going to win 8, 9, 10.
You stopped after 3. How much further were you about to go?
Get the yodeler out.
I don't know. I consciously stopped after 3. So I don't know. I don't know how many games they're going to win, but there are wins out there that they're going to get. They just have to get through these first 6, and I think that they'll continue to build on Dylan's expectations, or they'll continue to heap more responsibilities on his plate the more that he is out there and the more that he plays. I think because of what I said, they're going overseas. It was a disrupted practice week. It was not a typical practice week. He was going against a pretty good defense and a very good defensive coordinator, and now he's got to do that again. Now they got to come back again and do this on the road at Pittsburgh, and then you can sort of take a breath a little bit. I certainly would not pick them to win this game on Sunday, and then get through that. Everyone's going to scream and rant and holler on Monday and fire the coach, and this guy's an idiot, and this is terrible, and this is awful. And if they're 1-5, it's like, well, guess what? A lot of people thought they were going to be 0-6 after 6. So it really shouldn't be that surprising.
All right, Jason Lloyd with us from The Athletic. Do you think Flacco was so bad that it accelerated all of this, him getting benched and then him getting traded? Or do you think it was more about, hey, they really like Dylan Gabriel?
No, I think Joe was worse than they expected. And it was funny. I went on. I remember coming on with you guys, and I said, I think Pickett's going to start. I think Joe's the better quarterback. But that was based on training camp, where you can just stand there. There is no pass rush, and it was really more based on Joe's arm strength than it was his ability to move and play football the way football is played on Sundays. And once we got to Sundays and played football the way football is to be played, his mobility was so much worse than I remember it being from a couple of years ago. He just could not move. And not only could he not move, it just felt like he was making decisions that he was making mistakes, making poor decisions at the line with some calls that he never really made earlier in his career. So, I think his play hastened things. I do think that they feel comfortable with Dylan. There was about a 48-hour stretch over the summer where I kind of wondered if Dylan was going to be the starting quarterback week 1. So I do think that they're comfortable with where he's at. Like I said, I think they're going to continue to heap more responsibility on him. I think this happened sooner than they anticipated, but I don't think that they're panicking that Dylan is the quarterback right now. I think that I think they feel very comfortable with him running the offense. Yes, there's going to be seatbelts on, and I think those will come off the longer he's in that spot.
Do you agree with me? Well, it's not something I want to have happen, but it's what I think. Like yesterday, the game notes came out. They had Shador number 2, but I go by what was written in NFL Network, NFL.com on Sunday, where Ian Rappaport says, they want to give him a full week when he does play. They don't really want him coming in if he has to during a game because it's a different offense. And my thought is
Well, go ahead. Finish your thought.
Do you call me insane or them insane?
No. That insane. But go ahead and finish your thought.
Okay.
I don't mean to interrupt you.
Well, my thought is based on that, I think we'll probably find out later in the week that Bailey Zappi will be activated and he'll be the backup.
Well, I won't be terribly surprised if that happens at all, because I told you when this started, the last time I poked around on Shador was he's not ready, and it's not like he's close to ready. Now, maybe he's made unbelievable strides the last 2 weeks. That explanation that Ian wrote, I thought was insane. That's what I was saying. That's kind of hysterical to me, because there are quarterbacks all over the league who are thrust in mid-game, and you're expected to go. Like, the playbook that they ran with Dylan last week was not the same with Joe. There was a lot more read options, and actually they didn't move the pocket as much as I thought they were going to. I think that'll come more that he's in there. But clearly they felt okay with Dylan being thrust into a game as a backup quarterback, but not like that sort of – they're telling you without telling you how limited they feel like Shador is. If you really dig down and read into that, they're telling you, like, listen, if Shador is going to be the starting quarterback, we have to strip this thing down even more than it is with Dylan. Like, so that just tells me, again, like I said a couple weeks ago, he was not close.
Jason Lloyd joining us on the show. So will we see Deshaun Watson this year?
God, I hope not.
That's not an answer.
I know. Well, I heard Albert's explanation yesterday. Albert, what was Albert on with the afternoon
drive? Yep.
Okay, so I heard that clip, and I have more respect for Albert than probably almost any other national reporter. I think he is really, really good, and he does it the right way. I really like him. This is one of the few times where I would disagree with him, because he's right. They have more invested in Deshaun, obviously, $230 million versus Shador, but you have to look forward, not behind you. And how much longer are you going to wait on a guy who has not been good for a number of years? I mean, imagine if Deshaun runs back out on the field in Cleveland Brown Stadium or Huntington Bank Field, whatever they're calling it now. Like, the last time he was there, he wasn't very good. He got cheered off the cart. I'm not saying the entire stadium was cheering, but there were definitely cheers. As he's leaving the field, he's now got a twice torn Achilles. He's got a busted shoulder. And the owner called the trade a mistake. And you're going to run that guy out there? Why? You have two rookie quarterbacks on this roster. Why on earth would you run him out there? Like, it's over. It didn't work. It was a disaster. And good organizations identify mistakes early and fix them or pivot off of them. But these guys just keep trying to wring blood out of a stone. And if they run him back out there, they get what they deserve. Because it didn't work. They tried. I totally understand why they did what they did. And I know there's a bunch of Baker fans out there that are taking a victory lap, and congratulations to Baker for I'm serious on this, for turning his life around and turning his career around. I'm very happy for him. It was not going to happen here. And I totally understand why they made the move, why they gave up the draft picks, all that. I get it. But it didn't work. It was a massive catastrophe, and they refused to acknowledge that and move on from it. And if they put him back out on that field, they get whatever they deserve.
Do you think, Jason, that the organization is in lockstep on their quarterback situation right now, and throw Deshaun Watson in there as well? Do you think that Stefanski, Andrew Berry, Paul DePodesta, Jimmy Haslam are all thought partners on their current state of affairs at the quarterback position?
With two rookies and Bailey Zappi and Deshaun lingering?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they wouldn't be. Do you think this is a Moneyball situation where they traded one guy to force the other guy to move up? Like, I don't know. Why do you think there isn't, I guess?
No, I honestly, we started the show all sitting here going, we all knew that they were going to have a gauntlet of a schedule to start out. Most of us predicted like somewhere along the lines of 1-4. What was the point then of bringing in Joe Flacco only to lose him, this fast? All the stuff we're talking about, like, yeah. I was like you've been reporting from day one, or at least giving the opinion on from day one, that you thought it was Kenny Pickett. Like, did everybody support trading Kenny Pickett? If that was the first guy they went and identified and got as a flyer, a lotto ticket, or maybe even more responsible than that, yet they end up trading him, do you think everybody was on the same page on that? That part of it, I don't think.
Yeah, I can't tell you. I don't want to guess and speculate on that because I don't know. I thought Kenny Pickett was going to be the starting quarterback, and no, it didn't make any sense to me why they signed Joe Flacco. I told you guys that at the time. Like, I don't understand why are you signing a 40-year-old quarterback. What are you possibly trying to gain from that? In a season of transition, in the season of trying to figure out what you got and what you still need, how is playing a 40-year-old quarterback advancing the ball at all on that? And frankly, I never got a great explanation from anybody on why Joe was here. So that the whole thing, the timing on it was odd. Everything about it was odd. I remember. I probably shouldn't say this because I'm not saying like Jimmy forced this. I'm not saying that at all. But Joe's a free agent for quite a while, and we're at the owners' meetings, and we're talking to Jimmy and Dee, and somebody asked Jimmy about the potential of bringing Joe Flacco back, and saying like it was so much fun when he brought joy, and it was a great time, and why not just bring him back? And Jimmy sort of said like, well, I don't know, it's still a possibility. And then like, I don't know what, go back and look, however long after the owners' meetings, Joe was signed. And it was just sort of like, wait, what sense does this make? Like, why are you doing this? And then, then you take two rookie quarterbacks on top of that.
All right, Jason, real quick. Sorry, we got to go. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Will there be pressure from either ownership or management to play Shador Sanders?
I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think they want to play him before they think he's ready. Now, I don't know if there's 100% agreement of when is he quote unquote ready. I don't know, but I don't think that there is. I don't know. I think Shador will see the field at some point this year, though. Yeah. Although if Dylan's playing well, why would you take him out?
I got to go, but I have to ask it. Is Kevin on a hot seat right now?
I don't think they're not operating like a team about to fire their head coach. Not when you trade the veteran quarterback.
Is the seat warm at all?
Oh, I'm sure. Like, they got to get some wins. If they go 1-16, yeah, he's in trouble. They're not going to go. I
don't think they're going to go 1-16.
I don't think they are either. That's my point.
Now, what if Joe Flacco does end up playing well in Cincinnati? I would bet against it, but still.
If they give him 2 seconds of protection, yeah, he could play well because the receivers that he's throwing to are quite a bit better than what he was throwing to here.
But I think that offensive line is way worse than what he had here. In that sense,
it probably is. Yeah, and he can't move. So I'm kind of fascinated actually to see how this goes. And again, if you're afraid of your job, if you're going to get fired, why would you trade the quarterback to your division rival, and knowing that this could blow up in your face again, and Flacco could go out and throw for 300 and all of this?
Why would you say you needed an adult in the room? Why would you say that you needed to zig when everybody else zags? Why do they do any of the things that they do? Because these things always tend to bite them. You know that.
Yeah, they do. You're right.
So, Jason, thank you very much for the time. Love you. Talk to you later.
All right. See you, boys.
Jason Lloyd from The Athletic. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. Got a lot to break down on that, including if you're open to Deshaun and when Shador gets to play and whether or not Kevin Stefanski's seat is actually warm at all. Ken Carman, Tone Master General. What Jason just said. Next on The Fan.
chance to win great prizes. Let's show what a difference our region's air quality can make when you leave the car behind. Visit noaca.org for more details.
Sign up to be a part of the fan club. Download the free Odyssey app and follow 92.3 The Fan to get all of the best audio and best stories sent straight to your inbox. 92.3thefan.com.
Jason Lloyd joining us on the show. So will we see Deshaun Watson this year?
God, I hope not. How much longer are you going to wait on a guy who has not been good for a number of years? Why on earth would you run him out there? Like, it's over. It didn't work. It was a disaster. And good organizations identify mistakes early and fix them or pivot off of them. But these guys just keep trying to wring blood out of a stone. And if they run him back out there, they get what they deserve because it didn't work.
That's Jason Lloyd. He's tough talking right now. More on that here in just a moment. Folks, you can listen to The Fan anytime, anywhere on the free Odyssey app or on your smart speaker by telling Alexa, hey, play 92.3 The Fan. And now you can find 92.3 The Fan on YouTube. They're looking at us right now. Tone, I got autographed pictures for you to sign.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who are these going to?
They're going to Jamie and Colin, and I was supposed to have them like 3 weeks ago, but then I had problems finding the pictures because they closed the pharmacy down by my store, by my house. So I had to go and get them somewhere else, and now I got them. So you're going to have to sign these, put your Herbie Hancock on those pictures after the show or something like that, which Lima's signature is way worse than mine. But either way, you can watch it on YouTube. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima from 6 to 10 a.m. and Afternoon Drive and New Shirt Nick Wilson, as well as Jonathan Peterlin from 2 to 7. They're live each and every weekday. 92.3 The Fan on their YouTube channel, on 92.3 The Fan's YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. Watch all the best content from your favorite shows on The Fan each and every weekday, where I said, yeah, if Shador was my son, I think I'd feel a certain way about the Cleveland Browns if I were Deion Sanders playing those clips.
I don't give a damn about the Browns at all.
Playing them clips from what we did earlier in the show at around 6:20 this morning. You can always go back on that free Odyssey app and go ahead and listen. What did you think of Jason's comments there? What he said? Well, what he said about the
he makes it sound
franchise?
like he makes it sound like Dillon Gabriel has been so impressive, and not just it's been one game. So you're certainly not going to have some huge evaluation based on one game. That's silly. That's not how this works. I mean, first round draft picks normally get 3 years before we start to think about that. And hell, how many years was the Giants quarterback? What's his name?
Daniel Jones?
Yeah, Daniel Jones. 7 years? Was it 7 years?
It was a long time. No.
6 years?
Yeah.
6 years.
No, he got a second contract, right?
Yeah.
Did he get
from
5?
the Giants?
I felt like he was there longer than that. But we still don't know the evaluation of
Came
him.
in the year after Baker's.
Like it takes a long time.
So he was there. He was there 6 years.
6 years.
What
Okay.
Time flies.
So silly to do this after one game. But Jason's talking about from the moment he got into camp and rookie minicamp and all that, and that might have accelerated the process. Plus Joe Flacco not playing well. But the only thing is I'm seeing a bunch of the film from after the game, and everybody's like, oh yeah, he had one read made up on every throw, and so Njoku on not just the one everybody's seen, which is in the fourth quarter, but there are numerous instances of if he just waits another second and looks at a second guy, he has the tight ends open at a further depth down the field. But then other people are like, well, that's never going to be Dillon Gabriel. That's not going to be part of the Dillon Gabriel experience. And if that's the case, then how are the Browns falling in love with him? What is to fall in love with then?
Well, I don't think there's falling in love, which, by the way, can I sidebar this for just a second? Because I told you yesterday, you got to figure out, I absolutely want to see Shador Sanders. Unabashedly, I will admit that. But I just don't know if Dillon Gabriel's ever going to play bad enough to have that happen. And I don't really want Dillon Gabriel to play bad enough for that to have happen.
Why don't you think he could play bad enough?
Because I really don't. I think that he will do.
Who
what
do you
the
think
offense,
he is?
I don't think he's that great. I just don't think he's that bad. I don't think you may get to a point where the Browns go, we just got to see what we have in Shador. You may get to that, but I don't think that we're going to walk in here on a Monday going, that's enough of this kid. He ain't ready. We got to move on to Shador. I'm done. I don't think that's going to, I think we'll be upset and disappointed and whatever about a loss, but I don't think that I think there's going to be a lot of Sundays coming up where they lose, just like they did last Sunday, and they go, it wasn't Dillon Gabriel's fault. He didn't help him. He did what he could. It wasn't the reason they would have won, but he won the reason they lost.
You don't think
he exists.
You don't think 3 more weeks of the same offense and the same offensive output would not say after the bye week? So that'd be 3 weeks and then the bye week, right? Mm-hmm. And they wouldn't say let's see what the next one has.
Not from they might do that, but I don't think they're going to look at it and go this is unplayable. Like we got to a point with Joe, and we've gotten to a point with a lot of quarterbacks where like we can't do this. This isn't helping for the future, for the now, or anything. I don't think they're going to do that with Dylan. I think we will get to a point where we're going to go, hey, we're so-and-so and so-and-so. All right, let's see what the kid has and see whether or not there's going them their hills before we move on. I don't think we're going to do that. But
I can definitely see him playing bad. He was an overdrafted. Everybody agrees he was overdrafted. Guys in the first round, Cam Ward has played bad. Why can't Dylan Gabriel play bad? And Cam Ward has way higher of a ceiling. Is it because you think that Dylan Gabriel is just going to dink and dunk forever? Well, guess what? Defenses are going to adjust.
No, they will.
They're going to sit on that stuff, and the dink and dunks turn into interceptions and pick sixes.
But I do think that his knowledge is going to be good enough. Check the messenger, by the way. His knowledge is going to be good enough that his knowledge of the offense, bringing it in, I think that he'll eventually find the second read or the third read. But I guys, I don't think it's going to be 326 and 3 touchdowns and we're going to be setting sails here. Like, I think people are taking everything to an extreme. Like, people either are trying to say that Dylan really sucks or Dylan is the next Baker Mayfield.
He didn't suck.
That's not what it is. That's not what it is. I think that he just isn't going to be bad enough where we all come in here and say that he needs to be replaced. I don't think that that's going to happen. I think Shador will get his crack at it. But and Jason hates this idea, but I think that's what they're going to do. And maybe I'll be pleasantly surprised by it. Maybe I won't. But I think they're going to put Bailey Zappi in there as the backup quarterback. And then Shador is going to get time to get ready because I felt the same way Jason did when I read that on Sunday morning. You know, right before the Vikings game, it came out where the NFL had written, the NFL.com and Pelissero and Ian Rappaport had written that, hey, he's progressing, but they want to give him a full week, this, that, and the other. And I'm going, yeah, I think they're trying to say that they really think he's still a ways away. But I also think that, that time is probably going to come sooner than later because I don't think they're going to win many games. And I think there's going to be a time where naturally everything they're doing is already to get ready for the future. So they're going to get ready for the future. And everything they've done with the young guys has been sooner than we thought. Dylan was sooner than we thought. I think Shador is going to be sooner than we think. I think they're going to speed up that process. I think that's what they're going to do. Quinshon Judkins came back sooner than we thought, forced into the lineup. Now he's starting to look really good. Now he's starting to look really good.
Bell cow immediately. Haven't been in camp.
Everything is about seeing what the kiddos have. So, I think Shador Sanders will probably be put in sooner than later.
Well,
I think a winner picked November 9th.
That's the thing about Bailey Zappi is if Shador will be if Shador will be the backup this week and Dylan Gabriel gets swallowed up by Cam Hayward or something and he's just out. He's just knocked out or concussed or whatever and out of the game. Like Shador Sanders, we had Ross Tucker tell us last week. He's like, no, you'd be sabotaging Shador right now if you put him in. It's the opposite of what everybody else was saying. He's like, no, if you play him right now, because the last time we saw Shador, what was it? It was a college quarterback running backwards, having no idea. Like that's what it looked like the last time we saw Shador. Well, has he gotten better since then? Have those 10 reps? Maybe he has. I mean, you're hoping everybody that development's linear, but the 10 reps, the special Shador reps at the end of each and every practice. How much better is he going to get? Is he actually going to be able to take the football field, or will it look like Johnny Manziel the time in, what was it, Buffalo, when he's laying on his back? Yes. Is that what it's going to look like?
I hope not. I want to try to take calls before 8 o'clock because we go around the AFC North. I have 2 important questions to ask everybody in around the AFC North. However, I want you to check some of the reactions during the break. I'm picking up a sense from what that clip we played from Jason that we're going to have to play yet again because I want to see if you feel the same way about the reactions to what Jason had just said. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work on the absolutely positively free Odyssey app.
XTENDAV.com, extend tech.
Jason Lloyd joining us on the show. So will we see Deshaun Watson this year?
God, I hope not. How much longer are you going to wait on a guy who has not been good for a number of years? Why on earth would you run him out there? Like, it's over. It didn't work. It was a disaster. And good organizations identify mistakes early and fix them or pivot off of them. But these guys just keep trying to wring blood out of a stone. And if they run him back out there, they get what they deserve.
It's Jason Lloyd. The reason why I don't... Is there anybody out there that is excited to see Deshaun Watson? Other than for like cynical purposes. I wanted you to check your reactions during the break to what Jason had said. Look at the YouTube comments, look at the Twitter, look at what people kind of want to say on the phones here. Some of them went away. Look at that. Anybody who wants to see him, they're either going, hey, could it get any worse? But yeah, it could. He could play well enough to get you out of that spot to maybe take somebody, but not well enough to make you want to keep him around after next June. It can get worse somehow. Or B, you want to do it for cynical reasons.
I came up with one reason.
Or C, you want to go to the game and boo him as he comes out of the tunnel. Like, that's the three things. I'm not getting any positivity here.
No, the only reason is right now I have on record, thank God we didn't have the YouTube videos, I have on record one of the worst takes in the history of sports talk radio, and I own it, which is go get Deshaun Watson. He's a top 5 quarterback. Upgrade from Baker Mayfield. So
I'm thankful for you saying that, because at one point I tried to make an argument that Freddie Kitchens was better than Mike Vrabel. And then you said that, and it's completely kicked that to the side. So
the only reason, and I know it's been how many surgeries. So he wasn't good before the surgeries. Now he's had the surgeries, and I can't put it on the offense. I mean, come on. I can't, like, he was playing so bad, it wouldn't matter what offense. Like, Kyle Shanahan would have just said goodbye. Like, he would have said, I could do some cool things with Deshaun Watson, and then he's throwing turf balls and running himself into 30 sacks when the quarterback before him's not getting sacked. Like, I think Kyle Shanahan would say, I'm going to move on from you. So, just out of my perverse wanting to be right, like, from a sports talk radio perspective, like, you're praying, I couldn't have been that wrong. I couldn't have possibly been that wrong.
That's not an argument.
Maybe let's see him one more time so I can't really be all that wrong, even though I know I'm wrong.
Have we all accepted that he's going to start a game for the Browns this year?
Yeah, I thought so. I have. But people keep telling me I'm crazy. Like,
I hadn't accepted it until yesterday, and yesterday I had to accept it.
Yesterday I had to accept the possibility of it.
Oh, I think it's a guarantee now.
But
I'd put a stamp on it.
Again, like, guys, if you go out there, like, when do they play? They don't play a home game. They haven't played a home game in a while.
Technically, last week was a home game. It was in London.
Okay, well, there were a lot of purple in the stands, by the way. Did you guys see that?
I was told 80% by my friend who was there.
I can't believe that.
I don't believe it was 80%.
He was there.
So
he had his percentometer out.
You have a home game next Sunday against the Dolphins. Dylan Gabriel trots out there. I don't care if you're 1-5 or 2-4.
They can win, yeah.
Dylan Gabriel trots out there. People are going to cheer for him. If Shador Sanders trots out there, there's some people who are critical, and there's some people who, for whatever reason, don't like the guy because they don't like his dad, whatever. They bought into whatever garbage, and here we are. They're going to cheer for him. Deshaun Watson goes out there at any point, it ain't going to happen. And you're just going to make your fans upset. And that's something you have to weigh. Now, they have to discuss it because, again, everybody's got to be nice to each other here. And everybody is being nice to each other here between the Browns and him. Because you can't, he's got a contract, you can't just deny him. You have to come up with a reason. Now, you could stand there and tell people in the media to make sure, and I mean in a press conference, you could stand there and say, we believe that Dylan, Shador, Bailey Zappi, it becomes a little harder. Bailey Zappi gives us a better chance to win this game coming up on Sunday than Deshaun Watson. And I could look at you, and Lima and Owen and anybody else could say, we refuse to believe that or don't believe that. But you could say that, and maybe you could find some reasoning to say it because, hey, it's exactly what Albert was talking about with the guys in Afternoon Drive. Like, yeah, he's shown that he could play at a high level in the past, but then again, so is Joe Flacco, and you got rid of him. So is Carson Wentz, and he just beat you. Nobody thinks much of him. So was a lot of also-ran guys in this league. There's plenty of guys that at one point played at an exceedingly high level. So you can make that case, but what Jason says in so many ways rings true. It's not going to be a fun experience for anybody involved. Like, I think even the people who seem to claim that they dislike Shador, they're Browns fans or they just dislike Shador, I think they're going to be curious. And I think if they're at the stadium, if Shador were to play against San Francisco or Tennessee, right, November 30th or December 7th, I think he'll come out there and, all right, let's see what he's got. Let's see what he's got. Maybe he's got something. You had a couple of beers. You're over there in the 537. All right, let's see what he's got. Maybe he's got something here. Let's see it. I think Deshaun Watson goes out there, they'll boo him when he walks out, and then more than likely, they will not think much of him. And if he does anything well, yeah, maybe things will change, but I don't think they're going to think he does anything well. And if he doesn't do anything well, then it just gets worse.
I'm trying to
think.
Then
you just put him out there, and it feels like you made the fans upset on purpose.
I'm trying to think of it like the fans. We haven't seen this yet, but they're so over the Deshaun Watson experience. In fact, I have seen, like, there's been a segment of the fan base that was in on 4, like with the memes and the GIFs and the emojis and everything.
We had not seen any. Right. There were a couple times he struggled at the end in Houston. Not this.
But I think many of them have even abandoned ship, and they're like, all right, who's next? Oh, Shador. Famous player, like popular, like, okay. So I've even seen that shift. So he's losing a face-off with Shador when it comes to fandom. Man, I wonder if, like, it's week 16. I don't even know who that is. Week 16, and they go, we are going to start.
Buffalo at home.
Oh, my God. Well, whatever. It's going to be all Bills fans anyway. Maybe they'd say that's fine. But they said, okay, you know what? This week we are going with Deshaun Watson. I wonder if fans would, like, organize behind the scenes.
No.
Like, you're not going, I'm not going, we're not going.
Oh, well, I said, they don't need to organize. They just wouldn't go. Like, you don't need to put together a union hall of people who ain't going to go. They just ain't going to go. But I also think that there's a couple things you have to take care of. You're 1-4. The horse has left the barn. You ain't going to win this year. All right. You're bumping up Dylan Gabriel. More than likely, eventually you'll get Shador, even though I got my theory about Bailey Zappi. We'll see later this week. You don't want to upset your fans. It's already going to be a tough year. You're not going to win many football games, and more than likely, when you don't win those games, you'll probably not look good doing it. You don't want to upset the fans. That move will upset a lot of fans, because I think one of the things that people thought were, hey, man, I didn't think as many people were cheering when he got hurt. I know that there were some people. I was in the stadium. I didn't think it was as egregious as people thought it was. But they're boisterous. I think that there was all right, this is done. He can go on about his career. We got to move forward. He can move forward, and that's it. And when you bring him back out there, unless he goes 4 touchdowns and 330 yards, which I don't think anybody has any faith that he'll be able to do, you're just going to give everybody one more reason to get mad at you. And they're already plenty mad as it is, and it's only October 8th. Ken Wyman, James Rapine, Andrew Filipponi, Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. We go around the AFC North. What do they all think of Joe Flacco? And who the hell's going to win this division? Because we got one team that's looking good, and the other one's not so great right now. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work in the free Odyssey app. And when you get to your free, well, you wouldn't get the free Odyssey app. When you get to work, hope he ain't working for free. When you get to work, watch us on YouTube Live. That's free.
Anthony Lima 4, Diamond's Direct, corner of Richmond and Cedar Road, right off the freeway, 271 exit.
can't pick on the nickels like the Ravens did. I mean, I don't think they even have a weakness. And how many points have they even given up at that point? They already might be the best in the NFL. If they had Emerson, they'd probably clearly be the best in the NFL and maybe have a chance at like doing historical things.
Catch Odyssey NFL insider Ross Tucker on Afternoon Drive every Wednesday at 4. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
It's time to go around the AFC North. And our first stop is Baltimore, the Charm City, where the Ravens' backs are firmly against the wall. And Ken Wyman, 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore. Is the season on the line, Ken?
Guys, things aren't good here in Baltimore. They just got blown out by C.J. Stroud, and Matthew Stafford is coming to town Sunday. And I'm not being hyperbolic here, and I'm old enough to remember watching some bad Baltimore Colts defenses. This defense that I've seen the last 3 weeks, it's the worst defense I've ever seen. They do nothing well. They don't put any pressure on the quarterback. It looks like I'm back at training camp watching 7-on-7 drills for the other team's offenses, because that's essentially what they don't punt when the game is still quote unquote in doubt. It's bad. I don't know. The one saving grace they have is the division isn't great, but I don't see how they win Sunday. So is the season on the line? Did they get Lamar Jackson back after the bye? Maybe they can go on a run, but this defense stinks.
But we've seen some Ravens defenses stink before to start out the year, and then whether it's coaching or whatever, like you guys have always been able to figure things out by the end of the year. Why do you think, especially that you got guys coming back from injuries, why do you think this might not be something you can solve?
Well, number one, Matabike is not coming back, and he's probably one of the 5 most important players on this team. And the Ravens, they decided not to go out and get any veteran pass rushers this offseason. They were going to ride with the young guys, and the young guys aren't working. And they traded Odafe Owe yesterday. Joe Ortiz used to be the director of player personnel for the Ravens. He's now the GM of the Chargers. So he likes Odafe Owe. He gave him a 5th-round pick for him. The guy had 10 sacks a year ago and then put on 30 pounds and looks like he's just not a good football player. And so it's a salary dump, essentially. It was a 5th-year option. But Matabike not being back ever is going to hurt them. And here's the other dirty little secret. They're going to get Roquan Smith back, and they're going to get Marlon Humphrey back. But go watch the film of those two guys this year when they were on the field. They stunk. So not against us. Roquan Smith looked like he was 10 years younger. Yeah, he had the good game against you guys. Go watch the other games.
Everybody talks
he
about
was terrible against the Chiefs. He was terrible against the Lions.
Everybody talks about Roquan Smith like he's Clay Matthews. He's 28.
It's incredible. I know he was an All-Pro a year ago. I think that's a reputation thing. He was, for most of last season, he was not a very good football player. And when the Ravens first got him from the Bears, he was excellent. He was a difference maker. They could, we referred to him as a force multiplier. He made everybody better. He's a liability in coverage, and he doesn't seem to want to get physical anymore.
So it's like if you started out and you lose because you got the Rams coming to town, they're a well-coached team.
They're going to lose this game. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So all right. So you start 1-5. That means you lose 4 in a row. Yeah. Could you see fire sale? Is that just not in? Like could they get rid of Roquan Smith? Could they get rid of Marlon Humphrey? Could they get rid of guys and move on from them, or is that just like not in their DNA?
Well, I think they could here, but here's the thing. Those guys make real money. Like who is trading for them? What are teams giving up for those two guys? I know they're name players, and both of them were all pros a year ago. But go watch that Chiefs game. They put Marlon on Xavier Worthy. They went after Xavier. They threw to Xavier Worthy. So then they put Marlon on Travis Kelce. They threw to Travis. He couldn't cover anybody in that game. I guess they could trade those guys, and trading Odafe Owe seems to me. I'll give Eric DeCosta, the GM, credit for one thing. He's not passive at the deadline. He tries to make moves. He makes moves sometimes. He's come close to making other moves. I think getting that $8 million in cap room, it has to mean something else is coming. But could they trade those other guys? Yeah, I could, but I just wonder, beyond a team, maybe a contender that thinks getting them in a new situation wakes them up a little bit. Those two guys aren't winning football players this year.
Two, I got to ask you real quick. One, what did you think of the Joe Flacco trade? Were you surprised?
I was surprised, and I'm curious to. And I love Joe, but I'm curious to watch him behind that offensive line. And then now the other thing is, and I'm sure you've heard this before, I need the Steelers to get him at some point so he can wrap up the whole division. But like I want. We had Joe on the show. Might have been the first go around with you guys, and I'm just like, do you not like your children? Why are you still playing? You don't need the money. You're like, it was a joke, obviously, but like he must love the game. But I don't know how much when he played against the Ravens, he looked like a corpse.
Who's going to win the division?
I guess the Steelers by default. Like, could the Ravens go on a run? Like, here's the other part of it. Everybody just assumes, okay, they come back from the bye, they get Lamar back, and they got the Bears after the bye, and Harbaugh's great after the bye, and all this. But like, Ben Johnson's not going to have a plan to move up and down the field on this defense. Like, unless something changes, and I think they're going to fire Zach Orr. If they get killed Sunday, which I think they will, I think defensive coordinator Zach Orr gets fired over the bye, and then Chuck Pagano takes over the defense. Now, I don't know how much that changes things, but it's got to make it a little better because Zach Orr is in way over his head.
Ken Wyman, 105.7 The Fan in Baltimore, as the Ravens get set to host the Los Angeles Rams with their season on the line in mid-October. We go to Cincinnati. James Rapine, LockedOnBengalsSI.com. Will Joe Flacco play Sunday in Green Bay for the Cincinnati Bengals? James?
Yes. Yeah, I think he's going to start. I think he's going to play, and I think he's their starter moving forward.
Do you have hope for him?
Yeah, I think the hope is that arm is still Joe Flacco, like, arm-wise, and can actually get the ball to T. Higgins specifically, because T has had an awful start to his season. I don't know how much of that is actually on him, and when you have Jamar and T, well, you got to get them the ball. So I do think I'm hopeful there. Am I hopeful that they're going to win games with Joe? I think it's a wait-and-see approach is the best approach.
You saw the issues in Cleveland that Joe had behind the offensive line. Is it going to look any different behind the Bengals' offensive line?
I wonder what they do and how they do it to get these guys the ball. I mean, because if you go quick game, well, then how high can Joe throw it to get the ball downfield to Jamar and T if you're trying to get them the ball downfield? I think that's going to be sort of the balance. And so is it just deep balls and screens? I wonder that element of it. And then you guys saw it firsthand how much he likes throwing to the tight end. They have Noah Fant and Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki hasn't really been involved much this year, so can he get those guys involved as well? I think that the passing game should certainly be better, but will he be able to absorb the hits that come with passing in this offense? I think that's a huge question.
Who do you think is going to win the division?
I think as of now, it's hard to give you any answer that isn't the Pittsburgh Steelers, but things change in a hurry. And when you have a 41-year-old at quarterback, which the Bengals have a 40-year-old at quarterback now, so, things have changed a lot since week one, right? Mm-hmm. And I think things can change very quickly for the Steelers. So I'd say the Steelers today, but who knows how we feel a few weeks from now.
They're at Green Bay Sunday in the 4 p.m. slot, the Cincinnati Bengals, and it'll probably be Joe Flacco playing for the Bengals with Cincinnati against Green Bay. And that was James Rapine, LockedOnBengalsSI.com. We now go to 93.7 The Fan in Pittsburgh, and Andrew Filipponi.
That's unbelievable.
They get set to host the Cleveland Browns. What's unbelievable?
That he's already starting. I mean, he's never had that playbook. He's never played in that offense.
Did you watch Jake Browning on Sunday?
First half, horrible. Second half, better, but it was in garbage time.
It was hard to be worse than what he was in the first half.
I agree.
Who do you think is going to win the division?
Well, it's the Steelers to lose. I mean, they got to win it at this point. They're going to be 5-1. And the Ravens are going to be 1-5. So you're going to have a 4-game lead. Baltimore still got a trip to Green Bay. Later in the year, their defense stinks. I mean, Zach Orr's pretty much turned into their version of Matt Canada. I feel like the Steelers have to win the division with that kind of lead.
What did you think of the Joe Flacco trade when it happened?
I don't know what the Browns are doing. I mean, I understand that you're going with a youth movement now in Dylan Gabriel, but isn't the whole point to have kind of that veteran hand around those guys? And you're going to give up on that because you upgraded a 6th-round pick to a 5th-round pick, and you gave potentially a division rival a little bit of life? I hate that trade for the Browns.
The line this week, I've seen it fluctuate between 4.5 and 5.5. Is that offensive to your sensibilities, Andrew Filipponi? Do you think it should be more?
No, because the Steelers play a lot of close games and win a lot of close games. So, I mean, they needed a 60-yard field goal to beat the hapless Jets. I'm not shocked that it's so low because that's where they live. That's the kind of game they want to play. They're not accustomed to blowing teams out. I mean, they let Minnesota back into that game in Dublin. By all rights, they should have won that game by double digits. New England turned the ball over 5 times. It was a one-possession game. So I'd actually be shocked if the odds makers made a line with the Steelers that was more than a touchdown.
I saw you make note of Myles Garrett and the Browns defense coming up short in London last week. What do you think has a bigger game this week, TJ Watt or Myles Garrett?
Well, the history says when the game's in Pittsburgh, it's Watt. I mean, that's undeniable. I mean, Myles Garrett's played 8 games here. He has 4 sacks. Okay, so it's a half sack. You can give me PFF grades out your ass if you want. Who cares about that? Do you get home or do you not? And when the games are in Pittsburgh, Watt performs. He's got a 4-sack game here. And Myles Garrett, for the most part, does not. Now, you go to Cleveland, it's a different story. I'll concede that.
Yeah, Myles certainly got home one night.
Yeah, he did, Ken. Mm-hmm. But the game's not in Cleveland, and Jameis Winston's not at quarterback, and it's not in a blizzard on Sunday.
No, it's in Pittsburgh, and the weather should be decent.
Right. How many regular season games has Myles Garrett won here?
Do you believe that Jalen Ramsey and Calvin Austin III... Well, we have to keep moving forward. I think I've definitely won this argument. I don't need to have this argument again. Do you believe that Jalen Ramsey and Calvin Austin III will play against the Browns?
I'd be surprised. I mean, they both are, on the significant side when it comes to hamstring injuries. They didn't completely tear them, but they didn't just... It's not a minor injury. So I think it's a little bit of gamesmanship by Tomlin to make it sound like both of those guys could come back and already play 2 weeks removed from the injuries happening. So if I had to guess, I would say both guys probably rest up for this game and the Cincinnati game and then come back after that.
What do you think Dylan Gabriel does well that might not make you fear him or anything, but what the Steelers have to pay attention to?
Well, I thought he was. I actually agreed with Tomlin on this. Tomlin went over the top and said he had a superpower and said that the guy processed the game and processed things at an unbelievably high level. I do think he reads defense as well. I think it looks a little bit unorthodox because he's left-handed and he kind of gets a little bit of happy feet like he's Fred Flintstone driving his car in the pocket, but he tends to go to the right place with the ball, and it usually is on time. So, I was shocked that you said he was a backup quarterback against the Vikings. I could not believe that comment.
What do you mean?
To go up against that Brian Flores defense that everybody praises up and down. The one that made Sam Darnold look like a piece of crap in the playoffs last year, and he had 2 touchdowns, no interceptions.
I thought he played well. What was?
Well, you said you're not going to get excited that he reminded you of a backup quarterback.
No, that's not what I said. That's not what I said.
Maybe you guys should edit your videos better.
That's not what the clip said. That's not what the clip said. I said it was I said it was passable.
You said he reminded you of a backup quarterback.
Yes, because I said he didn't remind me of anything. I said he was going to be a backup quarterback in his career, and right now he looks like he's going to be a long-term backup quarterback in his career. Colt McCoy made a lot of money. Chase Daniel made a lot of money being backup quarterbacks in their career.
Yeah, I would say 2 touchdowns, no interceptions against Minnesota. It
was definitely a good outing. I
don't know how you could watch that and still be a Shador guy, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay, I don't know where that came from, but either way.
One more note, Pony, as you were begging everybody at our station for free parking when you came to Cleveland to watch a playoff baseball game, is it true that you only came here to criticize the fandom for a 1 o'clock game, wild card game?
I saw that.
Did you only come to Cleveland for the tweet that you could send to blast our fandom?
No, I wanted to see a playoff game because this team's never in one. So that was part of it. It was a terrible job by Cleveland Guardians and Cleveland sports fans. It just was. I don't care if it's played at 1 o'clock or 1 a.m. You can't sell out a playoff game when you've got this Cinderella story going where you were one of the hottest teams in September baseball ever, make up a 15.5 game gap.
I'd say, Pony, I'd say the fans are pretty discerning here. Playoffs are old hat. You know, they were excited about the run down the stretch, and they did sell out the last weekend of the year pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, so
then it was a short turnaround.
Fine. I mean, so now if you want to be the Atlanta Braves of the American League, that's fine. If that's what you want your MO to be,
I'd rather not be the Pittsburgh Pirates of the American League. I'll tell you that.
I'd rather not be the Cleveland Browns of the NFL. Ken, you want to play that game?
Yeah, we'll play that game all day long. I mean, we can do tit for tat when it comes to the cities.
Sure.
I got another question for you here. Did you steal my Zappy theory like Donnie Football wondered yesterday, your own producer?
Wow.
No.
And why weren't you invited to his bachelor party? That's another issue that I think we all need to bring up here.
Why weren't you invited to his wedding?
Because I live in Cleveland and he's never met me personally. That was the reason for it. Why weren't you, a guy who works with him, who's supposed to be a mentor
Is
to
there
him?
a fractured
how are you not
relationship
invited to his
behind the
bachelor
scenes?
party? And I don't. Are you invited to his wedding? Do we know?
Why did you skip big time shows to go to Disney World?
Because it was my wife's 40th birthday and I'm a good husband.
Why was your program director bitching about that to me last week?
Because he likes to bitch about me, and that's what he does this best.
Mine doesn't do that.
But go ahead and answer the question. Did you or did you not steal my theory about Bailey Zappi like your own producer wondered yesterday?
Well, how did he know that I stole your theory? I didn't even know that.
So
was your
you're
theory.
saying that you did steal it then? If you're asking how he knew that you stole my theory?
No, I
is
knew
what
that
you're
because
saying.
I actually talked to people who are around the Browns.
You got you talked to me. You talked to me. That's who you talked to. There's nobody else you talked to who was around the Browns. You talked to. Oh, excuse me. You talked to me.
How did I get a package of Hall of Fame beef?
You talked to me and you talked to Aditi. Did you get a package of Hall of Fame beef at your door?
Maybe I did.
Maybe I'm imagining you didn't.
What are you doing with the Wagyu ground beef?
Don't bring this up. Don't you bring this up.
Ken, how do I talk to you? You say I never answer your calls. So how did I get that from you?
You called me last time we talked.
And what did we talk about?
We talked about, obviously, a lot of things when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. So you were admitting you took my Bailey Zappi theory, is what you're saying.
Unbelievable.
And so you have that where you've stolen theories, and you have a producer that clearly doesn't care for you very much and is trying to give me information about you.
And this is why...
You have a Benedict Arnold in your midst.
This is why, as you'll see when you open up your email inbox over the next 24 hours, this is why Ken Carman is the subject of a Barrett Sports Media report and not Andrew Filipponi. Wait till you read that and it hits the newsstands.
Take that.
Garrett C. write that one?
No.
Nope.
The Ayatollah of John Momola.
Nor Peter Schwartz.
Wow. Who did it?
I just told you. You weren't paying attention.
Who? Who was it?
Say it again the exact way you said it.
The Ayatollah of John Momola.
Boom.
Who's that?
Oh, come on.
Oh, he's the best.
You don't monitor.
Don't act like
your
you don't know.
daily briefings from Barrett
Don't act
Sports
like
Media.
you don't know. By the way, go to our YouTube channel like your own co-host did last week and go see what people are saying about me beating you so badly again in an argument. It's becoming
get in the comment
old
section.
Hat. It's becoming old hat.
Keep disrespecting Dylan Gabriel, Ken. Keep doing
That's
that.
That's not a disrespect.
Family. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it was a very disrespectful thing to say about him.
Disrespectful. If I wanted to say anything disrespectful about Dylan Gabriel, I would just repeat things that I've said to you. Thank you very much for the time. That was around the AFC North. Another worthwhile journey into Andrew Filipponi's brain. Coming up next, the shine might be off Kevin Stefanski in some very important places. You want to hear what Bruce Arians had to say in 5 minutes on The Fan.
helping hand. Hurt in a car? Call KNR.
You can now watch The Fan live on YouTube. Catch The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima from 6 till 10 a.m. and Afternoon Drive with Nick Wilson and Jonathan Peterlin from 2 to 7 p.m. each and every weekday. It's free. Subscribe to 92.3 The Fan on YouTube.
There's no good way I have to bring it to tell her. There's no good way. So you can't talk about it because I can't correct her. I don't know.
I think you can do it.
All right, Joe Flacco isn't going anywhere, right? Well, he's going to Cincinnati. He's going to Cincinnati. It kind of goes with what you just referenced with Pony with us on the show. So let me tell you guys this real quick. So Joe sent me some of his wonderful beef, and I put it immediately. I put it in the freezer when I got home. This was a couple weeks ago, right? And yesterday, Liz wanted something for dinner. Or she wanted me to try to make it. I'm like, I don't cook. I don't know. And she goes, well, I'm just going around. And I said, okay, fine. And I went out this morning in the kitchen, and I saw Joe's Wagyu ground beef. And I went, oh, I'll take a picture. And I go, I hope Liz is making something good, making something nummy. And then it clicked, and I went, oh, God. And Owen wants me to talk about it so bad, and I don't want to do it because it's Wagyu ground beef.
She's making a nice Wagyu slider, or
so
what's she doing with this?
I didn't put two and two together. What she wanted to make yesterday, oh God! What she wanted to make yesterday was sloppy joes, and now how do I go? How do I text her and go, is there any other ground beef other than Wagyu ground beef that you can use for sloppy joes? Because I told you, my dad was a meat man for 41 years. I knew about Wagyu in the day. And I can imagine that maybe there's an unlocking that I don't know. Nothing's going to set up the flavor of some Wagyu better than Manwich. I love sloppy joes. I just don't know if we should use Wagyu.
I immediately jumped to there is no way in hell that you can put the Wagyu in Sloppy Joe, right? Form. But after thinking about it, there is a way, right? If you went to a nice, fusion restaurant that used, the freshest ingredients and they guarantee you all the meat that they use is Wagyu, they would maybe do something like this as like a chef's special or whatever. But it would not be on your 99 cents for 8 buns roll, right? It would not be with the canned sauce. Like, you can do it, but you're going to have to church it up a little bit. You got to go get a nice brioche bun or something. It's got to be nice.
It's just the cows are named. The cows have names. It's not just number 86990H from Tuscarawas County. It's not that. Right. The cows have a name.
And you know where this one came from.
The cow died. It's from Wisconsin. It's a Wisconsin cow. And I know we had some Ed Gein jokes earlier today, which Lima did have to specify during a break.
Many of them.
Ken, you corrected me on Ed Gein's name and how I pronounced it. Go ahead and say what you said.
Yeah, should I be giving him the utmost respect by getting his name right?
That's a fair point. Maybe we should be mispronouncing John Wayne Gacy's name and things like that. That's a fair assumption to say, okay? So I know that they come from Wisconsin. These are grass. I mean, this is handmade quality stuff here.
They're named,
and I feel
the one
bad.
You got was the one that had grass all over it and couldn't get its act together, and its name was Joe, and so it belongs on a Sloppy Joe right now.
I feel bad. I feel bad.
The only thing, the equivalent, if I were to try to explain this to somebody who maybe doesn't really care about meat all that much, would be if, let's say, you're a big-time bourbon drinker and you had the 10 or 12-year Pappy Van Winkle, and then you mixed it in a Manhattan.
Right.
Like, you wouldn't do that ever.
Or you just used it as a marinade or something.
My problem is I don't cook in the house. I don't well, okay. I will tell you this. There are some Sundays, I'll go get a couple drinks into me. I'll start playing the Dean Martin and the Frank Sinatra and the Louis Prima, and I will make Italian. I will make, pasta. Okay? And I'll make the garlic bread and the sauce and everything like that. I have done that, and I will do it again. But I don't cook. So how can I, the person who's not cooking, say anything to her about, hey, you maybe don't use the Wagyu? Well, Kenny, I'm not running around and getting different ground beef for it, so you're just going to have to shut up. I can't do it.
I think you got to show up with different ground beef when you get home
I
today.
won't be home until 9 o'clock tonight. It's going to be Wednesday's my late day.
Oh.
I got this. I got to
better
go
make a phone call
I
or
got to
two.
go to the Browns. I got to go to Fox 8. Then I got to go back here and do the preview show. Like, there's a lot
Do you
going
feel
on.
like you're wasting it if you put it into Sloppy Joe's?
Well, since we're having the segment, what do you think?
No, I think we're getting the most value out of the ground beef that we can get.
This segment is the most value we can get out of the ground beef, which is a shame because it's Wagyu. And I feel bad.
It's
I feel
also
bad that
ground
Joe
beef.
sent
It's
it
not
to
like
us.
it's a steak that she's taking and now putting through the food processor and then making the Sloppy Joe out of it.
I'm afraid of what she's going to do if she finds out about this. Like, this is not good.
I certainly hope no one tags her.
It's just you're having a nice conversation and maybe educating a little bit, because you could just go get some ground meat on the way home.
People don't know when they first encounter Wagyu, they don't know what they're getting, right?
If
Unless
my
you've
neighbor-
been educated on it.
if my-
Maybe you go to a restaurant and you just order it thinking it's just any regular meat, right? It's not. They put market price for a reason.
My neighbors, how about this? That was a great picture we took together that day. My neighbors, listen to this. If any of you guys are listening, could you just go get some regular ground beef and I'll get you back when I get home, or over the weekend I'll pay you. Can somebody do that? I don't know how to Venmo. I have cash. If any one of my neighbors, this is becoming Tradio here.
Yeah, do a trade on the interstate like you're doing a drug deal.
Just go, hey.
I got the meats, Ken. Here you go.
Now, I'm right now, I just Googled, what do you make with Wagyu ground beef?
Ooh,
there's
okay.
right?
All right.
It's coming up, 30-minute Mongolian ground beef, Wagyu meatloaf, Wagyu burger, right? You're fine.
Mm-hmm.
She's fine to make it. I just get a nicer roll. Get a nicer bun. Don't get your...
You just don't want to dilute it. That's the whole thing.
Don't get your... And you can actually make the sauce yourself. Put a little extra spice in it. We actually buy the bold version of what you're eating. It has a little more kick to it.
And how would you season it, by the way? If it was up to you in a perfect world. The perfect Wagyu world.
Well, it would be a burger. I wouldn't put it in...
And then what are you throwing on it, seasoning?
Oh, I mean, well, you're going to do like your Montreal or something like that, right? And a very nice cheese. We're not buying Kraft singles. We're going and we're getting it actually sliced at the deli. We're doing a little extra for it, right?
See, he knows.
I like to put Frank's Red Hot on top of it. Or I like to spread it over tater tots instead and just forget the bun.
Sloppy tots.
And eat some sloppy tots.
Coat the burger or coat the bun in daisy dips. And
Wagyu sloppy tots on a paper plate, anybody, at 9 o'clock at night when I get home? Who says no?
It's actually the best way to eat Sloppy Joe's.
I am begging my neighbors, one of you, please just go on.
Ken's not going to have room for this because he's got his seconds of Chinese that he went and got yesterday.
That's true.
Oh, yeah. I got
Maybe he'll mix that all together.
Baby, I got it in the bag over here.
One big stew.
You got a Carman goulash.
Just give me all of it.
And then his daisy dips.
All right. I had more fun about that than talking about Browns quarterbacks.
I agree. That was fun.
That was a lot more fun. See, Joe always finds a way to save the Browns. He always finds
one
a way.
way or another.
All right.
You better hope he doesn't find out. You don't want your wife to find out. You better hope he doesn't find out.
Does Shador deserve to play over Deshaun Watson? A critical question sent to the group chat yesterday.
Diabolical.
Let's answer it in 5 on the Fan.
It's Anthony Lima for Fanatic Sportsbook, and it is
Duke's mayonnaise. Get Duke's Mayo in store. It's got twang.
When there's news that affects the Cleveland sports fan, Daryl Ryder is on top of every headline. Listen to his reports on the station with the most local sports talk in town. 92.3 The Fan, powered by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
All day long. All day. All the time.
At work. 92.3thefan.com and the Odyssey app.
Check it out.
So now that Joe has been jettisoned to Cincinnati, I still don't know the plan. We'll hear more later on today. I don't know. A lot of people are excited because they saw Shador, number 2 on the depth chart, when the Browns released their game notes. And I said, "Ooh, not so fast, my friends." Going by what the NFL Network had written, or NFL.com had written, where it was Pelissero as well as Ian Rappaport, I believe that Bailey Zappi, don't come after me for it. I don't think I advocate for it. I think we've all seen enough of Bailey Zappi. I think Bailey Zappi is going to end up being the primary backup. I think he'll be activated and he'll end up being the primary backup. Maybe I'll end up being wrong because I think now we just want to be entertained. We want to see something that's entertaining. Dylan Gabriel was fine. Eventually we get to Shador. Bailey Zappi does nothing for nobody with the exception of the last name Zappi. Tom Pelissero was on Rich Eisen. And this is what he said the Flacco trade means for Deshaun Watson, and Shador Sanders.
Well, starting off on Deshaun Watson, he's coming back from 2 Achilles tears. That's a very long rehab process. Obviously, he's been documenting that on his social media. I have not gotten the sense that anything is imminent in terms of Deshaun Watson getting back on the field. Bailey Zappi's in his second run now on Cleveland's practice squad. But this does really clear the space now that for everybody saying, why isn't Shador Sanders the number 2 quarterback? Well, now here it is. And the expectation would be that he is going to be the one who backs up Dylan Gabriel starting this week for the Browns. So, with Shador Sanders, I know a lot's been made. What are they doing with, having Shador and saying that he's going to play eventually? That's always been the plan. Jimmy Haslam flat out said it in training camp, which is they want to see both these guys figure out what they have. And then as we get toward next year and the fact they've got 2 first-round picks, you at least know, do we think we have something that we can work with here?
Well, there you go. There's a plan right there for you. Now, I would want to see Shador way before I see Deshaun Watson. One guy I think has a chance at a future, I should say. The other one doesn't. And I don't think Deshaun Watson has a real chance for a future. I don't care what's been invested. I don't care what he showed when he was in Houston. It's been a long time.
Can I ask a question that should have zero bearing on any of this?
Fine, go right on ahead.
What about the Shador popularity part of this?
What do you mean?
Do you think that factors in and is going to override actual football discussions throughout some of this? Just meaning, we've seen it, we've alluded to it in the past. Like, I think
Johnny Manziel played because he was popular.
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
And Mike knew he wasn't ready. He wasn't ready to play. And I wanted to see something different. Hate to say it. You and I both like Brian, know Brian. I was mad because of the Indianapolis game. I wasn't thinking clearly.
And Brian was not good. Brian had the Indianapolis game was a disaster.
Yeah.
Right? But I'll never forget because I'm going to lose the argument now.
But Johnny
going to have to go to Johnny.
Johnny wasn't playing because Mike wanted to make everybody upset. Mike knew he wasn't ready, and then he proved he wasn't ready when he went out there to the. I don't know if he had ready.
So was it a sit down? Like,
no, we played him because they wanted to maybe entertain the fans, or because he was a first round pick. I mean, Zach tells you there were certain people who aren't even there anymore who were scowling after they beat Atlanta. I want to say they were scowling because they knew that it was another week that Johnny couldn't play.
Right. I think was there also the Tennessee come from behind win on the road, whatever. So here's what I'm asking, and the only reason we are digging up the bodies here, and I swear it's not just because I'm watching the Ed Gain documentary. Is it Ed Gain or Ed Gain?
You can say it any way you want to, apparently. He doesn't deserve to have his last name said correctly.
So I promise the only reason, because I want to compare it to now to see, because the ownership is the same. Did somebody tell Mike Pettin you had to play Johnny Manziel?
I think so, more than likely.
Is somebody going to tell Kevin Stefanski he has to get Shador Sanders in?
I can't say no. I'd love to say no because I hope that they've learned from their mistakes. A lot of things of what they're doing. Oh, God. This is going to be fun. Yeah, what were you going to say?
Well, I just think the one difference between then and now is were Ray Farmer and Mike Pettin thought companions?
No, not at all.
No.
Are Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski thought companions?
Apparently, yes.
They're thought lovers.
So, well, they're more than just thought companions.
Yeah, they love the thoughts that each other has.
So could it be someone that was not Jimmy Haslam telling him to play Johnny Manziel? We're talking about Mike Pettin at the time, right? Because Ray Farmer is the guy that put himself out there. Everything that Kevin and Andrew have done is said that they're doing it together.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that Jimmy's ever going to go out and go explicitly, you have to play this guy right now.
No.
If it is what I at least believe, that Jimmy is the one that made them draft Shador.
Well, I think this goes back to this. Everything that they've done, I think, has been an attempt to learn from their past mistakes, which I know you guys are going to hear that and go, what? Yeah. They've kept Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry longer than what a lot of folks would like because they believe they've given up on people too soon. I think that they definitely wanted Johnny Manziel, and they got Johnny Manziel, and I think they gave the order to play Johnny Manziel, and that happened and blew up in everybody's face. And I think that they don't want to do that. I think that they'll eventually take another guy, and we may land it, because you look at what the quarterbacks are now in this league and how there's like 3 that you can really count on now. And you got a lot of guys who are retreads, and they're starting to play pretty well, quote-unquote retreads. I think we will probably reach a point with quarterback X, somebody out of college who will eventually play for this team, and we will reach a point of, what are we doing with this young man? And I think they'll go back to their experiences with Baker Mayfield and try to learn from that. I really do sincerely believe it's been a decade of ownership, over a decade of ownership. I really do sincerely believe, and maybe to their own detriment, as we see here, that they are trying to learn from mistakes, not just mistakes, terrible mistakes that they made. The primrose path that Joe Banner led them down. Lombardi had a hand in it too. Let's be honest. I know he's come on the station before, but he had a hand in it too.
I think he'll be coming on our station again soon.
The Johnny mistake that he had, the Johnny mistake that they had, the letting go of, letting Kyle Shanahan go. I know people bring up Mike Vrabel. I think they might have explored it if they didn't have such allegiance to Kevin, and I think that Mike Vrabel wouldn't have accepted it because he has allegiance to Kevin. People don't want to accept that. That's fine. I think that they do try to learn from their mistakes, but I think the pendulum swings too far to the left and to the right. It's one extreme or the other. Like when you went and you brought in Paul DePodesta, I think Paul DePodesta is a guy who doesn't look at the heart of players. And I think that's cost the Cleveland Browns because they don't have a culture and they never really have. I think that John, who I can call him by his first name, I think John believes a little bit too much in the heart of some of the players. I think there's a little bit too much of that. Like it's never been centered. And I think Andrew has tried to find that and Kevin has tried to find that. But because of everything that's happened in the past and because of what's going on right now where the quarterback that we're debating with Shador Sanders, nobody wants to see the guy. The vast majority doesn't want to see the guy. And the only people who do want to see it is a cynical curiosity. And because of what has happened with the other guy that they jettisoned, this ain't going right. This ain't going right. And I think when they make their final decision based on Kevin and Andrew and everything else, they will look to the past and try to figure out what mistakes that they made that they think they need to correct. But I think it goes from one extreme to another, and I think it's cost us. 216-474-0092. But when it comes to deserves, yes, 100%. I think Shador Sanders deserves to play over Deshaun Watson. I don't think Deshaun Watson deserves anything except what he's contractually obligated to receive, and that's his money. That's it. 216-474-0092. That Kevin might have just lost the last folks that really support him. I told you we were going to play this. You got to hear it next. Bruce Arians. You got to hear what the former coach had to say about the job that Kevin's doing this year. Ain't nice. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. That at 9:01 on The Fan.
Anthony Lima, 4Q. That's happy at 923thefan.com, all from Live Nation and Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
I cannot believe that they traded Joe Flacco yesterday. And I want to ask you this. Do you agree with me, by the way? Because, and I saw a glint in his eye. I said it right at 6 o'clock. I go, there is a guy who's waking up and going to a workout right now, like going to a gym to work out. And he doesn't know it, but he will play for the Cleveland Browns later on this year.
I love that.
He will play the quarterback. He will at least be on the practice squad. He doesn't know it, but it's going to happen. Somewhere in America, there's a man, it could be worldwide for all I know, there's somewhere in this country, in this world, that a man has woken up today, and he's going to go about his daily routine and have no idea, and eventually his agent is going to call him up and say, you got to go to Cleveland, I've booked this flight for you. You believe that, Owen?
Yeah, when you brought it up this morning, I immediately went and Googled free agent NFL quarterbacks right now, right? A couple names that came to mind.
Teddy Bridgewater.
There's a guy named Desmond Ridder. He was just with the Vikings. He got cut on Saturday. He thought he would see the Browns on Sunday. He might see them on Wednesday. He might see them on Thursday.
There you go.
Tim Boyle. That's a name. Teddy Bridgewater is
Desmond Ridder's still on.
He just got cut.
Oh, okay.
He just got cut this weekend.
But I thought that's what I meant by he. Oh, has he not cleared through the process yet?
I doubt it.
Okay, never mind. Go ahead.
Did you say the guy from Infinity Sports Radio?
No, not Pat Boyle.
Oh,
Tim Boyle.
Tim Boyle.
Okay. There's a guy named Dorian Thompson Robinson.
He's available?
According to this list.
Okay.
Did you see what our buddy Shep just bought, by the way?
No.
A new DJ stand?
No.
Karaoke machine?
Joke's on us. Apparently, he is right there with the Cash Money Millionaires. Just bought a G-Wagon.
Whoa!
Went, what?
Until he gets a gold tank, I don't care.
Look
all
at
right?
You.
So those are your free agent quarterbacks?
Well, there's a few more.
I'd like to hear them.
John Wolford.
Come on.
Taylor Heineke. Clayton Tune.
Didn't we have Taylor Heineke?
Yeah, we did.
Okay.
No.
We didn't.
No.
I thought we did.
We've had a lot of people come through these doors.
Okay.
Brett Rippon.
We had Tyler Thigpen?
Tyler Thigpen.
Yeah.
No, that was a long time ago.
Brett
and
Rippon.
He passed out in a drive-through, I think.
Would you rather have Mark Rippon or hard-hitting Mark Witten than Brett Rippon?
Well, wait a second. So we've had, again, I'll go through it, Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, Shador Sanders, Tyler Snoop Huntley, Bailey Zappi, and Deshaun Watson have all either been in the building, have either had reps with the team.
Those guys, except for Deshaun Watson, have taken a snap in a game of some sort, whether preseason or in season.
Yes. So if there comes a time, if Dylan Gabriel, and Jason Lloyd was brimming with optimism about Dylan Gabriel. So I know at times we all said passable, competent, whatever. But if he looks terrible in Pittsburgh this weekend, are we going to go back and say, why was Tyler Snoop Huntley taking snaps this year? Why was, you're going to go through the whole list?
Well, no, I can't. But this is part of it, and this is where I'm going to get to the Arians clip here. Is I got to ask, what was your guys' plan? Everybody involved. I mean, the owner can do whatever the owner wants, but he wants to try to. He believes he wants to try to let the people in charge be the people in charge. And it's been thrown out there before, and I know what I believe about who picked Johnny. They swear up and down, and this is where What did I just spend the last segment saying? They try to correct their own mistakes. So maybe they tried to correct that mistake, and they did just decide that they were going to take Shador in the fifth round. All right. But it doesn't make me any more confident in you because now, hey, you know what? If I really wanted to make an argument for Andrew Berry, I can go, gosh, you got three guys right there who are rookies on your football team who I think people definitely want to see signed down. They have hope that they will be signed and be long-term Browns on their football team. 3 rookies at least. And then you're getting to 2 others, maybe even 3 others that start to look pretty decent for you that can definitely be help for you. So maybe it's still too little too late for Andrew, but when it comes to Kevin, what were we doing here? You let go of Joe, all right. You just let go of Joe, but you let go of Kenny before. I'm watching retreads do well. And hey, I know what I think of Kenny Pickett. Guys, I'm just a loudmouth, and I've been wrong before, and I'll be wrong again. I think I'm right, but we'll see. But if he goes out there and he lights it up for the Las Vegas Raiders, well, I got to throw that against Kevin. If Joe Flacco goes down to Cincinnati,
Flacco look good. They cannot have Joe Flacco look good going forward.
Other things have happened, and you know who else looks good? You can use that against Kevin. Because there comes a time where eventually I can't just keep using metrics. I have to look at the scoreboard. You have less points than the other team. Again, it has to be something that somebody answers for at some time. And before, people could argue that the processes were fine, but the outcomes weren't good, and you can't just be outcome-based. I still can't believe anybody in our business, in media, with a straight face could ever tell. I never did this as much as I am like, hey, I like Kevin, da-da-da-da-da. I never tried to do that. Where with a straight face, I try to tell you, well, you need to learn ball, and you have to have more than just be outcome-based. Yeah, I could say that to another radio show host. I could say that to Tone. I can't really say it to fans. And I don't think I ever did. I couldn't believe that. I was like, I don't want to be, maybe I was part of the cult, but I don't want to be a part of the cult. You can't do that. Well, now tunes are changing. 3-14 last year, 1-4 this year, and you had Bruce Arians, who was on the Pat McAfee show. This audio courtesy of ESPN. He was asked about Kevin Stefanski's job security and what other teams think of him.
Stefanski, how do you guys view him?
I don't know how he's kept his job this long.
That's exactly. Most coaches view that way. But I think everybody in the media's eyes just kind of give him a pass because the ownership decided to tie up the largest percentage in the history of a salary cap and kind of hamstring the entire team. Coaches, though, do they see it that way? Or is it
No, the coach is all about winning, man. It's all wins and losses. You can be the nicest guy in the world. You're going out the door. But I think maybe they see that continuity does matter, because they went through so many people so fast in the Browns' history that they are trying to copy the Steelers a little bit. And let's keep our guys, let's keep our coaches, let's keep some continuity, and we'll put it together.
Okay, so that's not really great because Bruce Arians, Bruce Arians has been when he's been a head coach, he's been a very successful head coach. He didn't get fired in Arizona. He walked away. He didn't get fired in Tampa Bay. He retired. He's been a very, very, very successful head coach. But make the point you made to me off the air when you first heard this and told me about Bruce Arians and what he's thinking when he sees. So I also heard because Albert Breer was asked about it. So let me add some color to this. Because you are in this world, and this is why you're like, Ken's a football guy. And we make jokes about, I know a lot of football coaches, man. And there's a lot of things when I text football coaches that I don't text the other football coaches about because it's a small world, football coaches are. And when they become head coaches, man, they love to talk bleepy about each other. And the guys who have been fired love to judge the other ones and talk bleep about the other ones. And there's no doubt in my mind, and Albert Breer added something to this yesterday on Afternoon Drive. You can go back and listen to it. Because if I pick it up, then I guarantee he's obviously picked it up for years, is that I believe that there are definitely people in Bruce Arians' life, because the guy's been in the NFL, was in the NFL for 30 years. He still knows plenty of people in the NFL. I believe Bruce Arians is a good man, knows a lot of people. There's definitely been people in Bruce's phone who have been watching the Browns going, what? He continues to get a pass for this. Like, you start to not, like when you turn, like this goes back to the process thing. Process, and then you start to do things that don't make sense. And then there's people who are like, oh, I've been in the job, that's a tough job. And then you start to go, well, they're not doing that right. They're not doing this right. And then you go, Bruce Arians knows this. Bruce Arians wouldn't have got to come back from 3-14 with the Arizona Cardinals. The Cardinals are not a great organization and haven't been. I know they've been to a Super Bowl, but they're not a great organization over their history. Remember, they were the organization that didn't want to go with Blestrel and the other scouting service because they were too cheap to do so years ago. I mean, we're talking years ago. That's not a great organization. And they still had good coaches. I mean, Ken Whisenhunt had a little run there. And obviously, Bruce Arians is a great coach. Bruce Arians is a really great coach. And he's got people in his life, I guarantee you, who are in the business, who are currently coaches in the NFL going, hey, man, what's going on here? You can only be defended for so long before the people who are defending you sound like they're sticking their heads in the sand. If what you have when you first start a tenure, when you do anything, and you're in a leadership position, and you lay out your grand ideas, and the ideas sound good, and there are people behind you. If you have a good run, that's fine. But eventually you get to a point, and it happens to just about everybody in every walk of life, that if you're in a point of leadership, eventually times change, and you have to change with the times. And if you don't change with the times, and you continue to say the same things, the people around you who continue to defend you will sound crazier and crazier to those of us who have seen other things. Look at Bill Belichick right now at UNC. Look at that for a moment, Tone. Go and look at his coaching staff. What's it look like? All these guys have been around Belichick his entire life. And you know why? Because other coaches have looked at this and they saw what happened in New England. They saw that he put his buddies in charge of the offense and basically sabotaged the Patriots and sabotaged Mac Jones. This ain't going to last long. I don't want to be a part of this. Anybody good, this ain't going to be very good. I don't want to be a part of this. No, we can't do it. Who's in with him? Freddie, hate to say it. Mike, hate to say it. That's who's in with him. Guys who have been around for a while. That's who's in with this. And now I'm getting, like, there's been plenty of good coaches who have come to the defense of Kevin Stefanski over the last couple of years, certainly. And you didn't need to defend him in 2023. They made the playoffs. But here we are after 2024, 3-14. You blame the ownership, blame this, that, blame that, blame the other, all the other things, blame Deshaun. I think that this is the first. This is the first, because I know a guy like Bruce Arians had to look on Sunday and go, this doesn't make sense. Remember, it's the only game that was on at the time. It's the only national game, technically international, only game that's a feature game and a feature time slot this team will play. And I think Bruce Arians probably was texting or calling or on the phone with somebody. It's early in the morning. Who knows what Bruce Arians is doing? He seems to live a nice lifestyle now. But there was definitely some question going, you're doing what? What's going on here? And then you look at it and go, I wouldn't have got to stay from 3-14. There's other good coaches who wouldn't have got to stay after 3-14. I think privately, Kevin would probably say, yeah, I can't believe I'm staying here after 3-14. He knows the league. His father was in professional sports. He grew up in it. So this is really, we are at a DEF CON here. And it's only October 8th. And so that's why I believe wholeheartedly, maybe full-heartedly too, that, yeah, they're going to give you they're going to throw you a bone. They got to cool you off somehow. Fans are mad, they're agitated, and at worst, they're cynical or apathetic. There is no way you can put the other guy out there before you put Shador Sanders out there. If you really want to make Bailey Zappi the backup quarterback, you go right on ahead and do so. There are going to be people who are mad, obviously, but they'll go, okay, fine, whatever. He'll eventually play. But if you put that guy out there ahead of Shador Sanders, you're going to have a hell of a lot more hell over it than what you want. You can't do it. Got to cool off the fans. This can't happen. Or you can just hope that Dylan Gabriel continues to play at a decent level. And he played pretty well on Sunday. 216-474-0092. Do you believe the same thing that I just said to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I have an update. I sent a text 10 minutes ago. I'm as nervous about a text message I've ever sent in my entire life 10 minutes ago. And I will read that to you on the air to make myself feel better next on The Fan.
Anthony Lima.
down, top Toronto 9-6. However, the Blue Jays still lead that series 2-1, and Seattle down in Detroit 8-4. Mariners in front in that best-of-5 series 2-1. Listen to The Fan Rewind weeknights 11 to midnight. All the best segments from all our shows can always listen on the Odyssey app. Headline sports news every 20 minutes right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
We got more on the Browns, obviously, and more on Joe, and more on Shador, and more on Deshaun, and Kevin, and everything. But first, we got to go Surfside, Tom.
We do. Surfside Cavs update brought to you by Surfside. Actually had a game last night.
Preseason.
Kenny, I couldn't find it. And then it was too late, and then I couldn't log in.
I found it. Why couldn't you log in?
I don't know. I'll have to settle that with Peacock.
Well,
so that was a national broadcast last night?
Yeah, they played the Bulls. They ended up losing to the Bulls. Not that it matters because it's the first preseason game. Where did they do a video tribute for Isaac Okoro? You asked the question before the show. He had 11 points last night in 18 minutes, part of their starting rotation. But the question was, why couldn't you find it? Because I think people need to know. Like at one point you had to really go hunting for Guardians baseball. You got to really go hunting for the basketball.
Yeah, so the NBA signed this incredible deal. Like all these ratings are showing the NBA going backwards, but yet they signed an all-time crazy good TV deal because of their national, baseball doesn't have that. Baseball has all these other indicators of things are going on the rise, but they can't get the TV deal that the NBA got. But with that TV deal comes, where's my team playing? What channel is it on? Where am I getting it? What apps do I have to have? And I think people are noticing, like, it's going to be a little more annoying. It's not just going to be, hey, all my games are in one spot the entire season and set my DVR to it or whatever in case I miss it. Like, I think there's going to be a lot of nights where the bars are going to be impacted because the bars are going to be like, hey, what streaming do I need? Oh, crap. Oh, we didn't subscribe to this one.
And I think this is going to be tougher because I told you how I feel that people are going to treat the regular season this year. And I think that if they can't just click on whatever number, like you get the 306 Guardians, boom. 306 Guardians, boom. 306, da-da-da. If they don't know from date, I don't think they're going to go looking. Well, I think they're going to look and they go, Memphis, bye.
In the past, you had, like if it was an ESPN broadcast, you also got it on the local broadcast as well. If it was a TNT, you didn't. But if it was ESPN or NBA TV, you've still got the the John Michael version of that broadcast as well. Is that going to go away now with these? We've got so many extra channels now that they've switched over to. I hope we don't lose that, at least accessibility to the local product that seems more based to the local fan.
I hope so too. I hope you're right.
I do like to check in on the national broadcast every once in a while.
Yeah, you like to do both. You want to see nationally how people are.
But there were nights that you came home or next morning you come in and go, oh, I watched the ESPN version. I'm like, I didn't even know it was on there.
Right.
Like if I go
NBA TV, it'd always be blacked out.
I don't even have NBA TV, so I always watch the local version. But is that going to change now?
I think to some degree, yes, it will. And it's the same thing I look at when it comes to, like, if I'm looking for my shoes and one of my shoes is in the hallway closet and it's mixed in with all my other shoes,
my other
kids' shoes. I don't go barefoot, but at one point I'm going to wear another pair of shoes. Forget it. F it. So it's something to monitor.
Yeah, just one real quick note. I know this will not be their starting lineup, by the end of the season, but I will say it was kind of nice having some size around Donovan Mitchell. Jalen Tyson, 6'6", DeAndre Hunter, 6'8", Evan Mobley, 6'11", Jared Allen, 6'9", 6'10", whatever he is. Like, that is a lot of length and athleticism that you don't have when it's the two small guard lineup with Strus. I know they won't play that way. That won't be their starting lineup later in the season, but it's nice to see Donovan play with athletes.
Interesting. All right, we ready for this? So I have an update.
Say Surfside again?
Oh, yes. Please say it again if you can.
Is your Cavalier update brought to you by Surfside.
There you go. Works. So I told everybody at around 8:30 that, listen, I don't do the cooking. I'm nervous around here, all right? I don't make the rules around here. I'm nervous because I went downstairs today and there was Wagyu beef that Joe had sent and the package was thawing out on the counter, on the kitchen counter. And I put 2 and 2 together and went, oh, God, because she wanted Sloppy Joes last night. We didn't have Sloppy Joes last night. We got food out, and now I'm thinking, oh, God, she's going to make Sloppy Joes with Wagyu. And my wife did not grow up knowing. My wife's first steak was with me. She did not. They're not meat people. They don't know about those things, and that's fine. But I said, I got to remain, probably not saying it in front of thousands and thousands of people in the radio show during a big day. It's probably the best way to do it. Either way, I had to do it some way, and here it is, where I want to, as gently as possible, push her to change the beef out. Knowing that I don't do the cooking, and I don't do the cleaning, and I don't make the bed, and I don't do this and that when it comes to the house. Tone. So I sent a text. I'm still undelivered. I have not been read yet. I called her our nicknames that we have for each other. I called her the nickname I had for her. And I said, I have to tell you something, and I think you're going to be really mad at me, period. I want to tell you before that I sincerely appreciate everything you do for me and the family. That was the first text. Second text. But I'd like to sign up for Instacart and send some cheaper ground beef for Sloppy Joes tonight, if that's possible. Wagyu is extremely high-end, and we probably shouldn't use it for Sloppy Joes. Again, I say this as respectfully as possible, knowing I don't cook and you do everything for me /us, and I want to offer to sign up for Instacart and send it to the house. Will that get me beat up by her?
I think it's okay.
Will that get me cussed out by her?
Is that how you normally text her?
Yeah, that's the only issue. If you don't normally text her like that.
Well, no, I usually would say something. I'm not in person with her, and I won't be for a while. Yeah. So I have to be very nice about it, because I can't just go, hey, we ain't using Wagyu beef for Sloppy Joes. If I say that, that's going to be met with, okay, then you cook. Okay, then you clean. Okay, then you do this for the house. That's how that's going to work. So listen, man, it's the same thing. If you're going to come after, you're going to come correct. You're going to have respect in your voice when you say these things. So I'm going to have respect in my voice when I say this to my wife, because I don't want my wife mad at me, especially because I can't get home until tonight to fix that problem or to attempt to fix that problem. And I don't want to come off as a jerk. So I'm like, hey, can I sign up for Instacart and send it? Like, I want to ask first, because I don't want just some Instacart order to show up.
You're
and then she's like, what is this?
Deflection in your voice that you can't put in your text.
I know. I enlisted some help. Kenny,
if you give me Chat GPT, I'm walking out of here.
I got you some Chat GPT options, and now it has a few different tones. It has playful, lighthearted, sarcastic, funny, concerned, but polite. Which would you like? They're quick and to the point.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, here is the playful way, because I asked, how could Ken text his wife Liz about her decision to use upscale Wagyu beef and Sloppy Joes and how that's a bad idea? Quickly threw out these answers. Hey, Liz, love that you're going all gourmet on dinner, but Wagyu beef and Sloppy Joes, that's like washing the car with champagne. Smiley face.
No.
Let's save the stuff for burgers or steak night.
Nope, that is awful. You people are using ChatGPT. You pay for that service?
Let's move on to sarcastic or funny.
They have a free service.
It's the ChatGPT brought to you by Cordell and Cordell.
Would you like me to do sarcastic and funny?
Yeah, go ahead.
So just to confirm, we're using $40 a pound Wagyu beef for Sloppy Joes. Should I serve it on gold-plated buns too? Smiley face. And finally, concerned but polite.
Oh, nice.
Oh, it added another one, by the way, since we've been talking. Hey, hon, I just saw the Wagyu in the fridge for Sloppy Joes. Are you sure about that? It's kind of a waste for something that's meant to be, well, sloppy. Maybe we can use regular ground beef and save the Wagyu for a special dinner. One final one. This is supportive but honest. You know, I love you're always trying to make meals special, but Wagyu and Sloppy Joes feels like putting a tux on a hot dog, smiley face. Maybe let's use it for burgers or steak night instead.
No jokes. Do you have anything that's fun and flirty?
Oh, let me say, can we do this in a fun and flirty
Do you have
tone?
anything that will end sexy?
Here we go. The smooth tease. Babe, Wagyu for Sloppy Joes, it's like putting diamonds on a cheeseburger. You're too fancy for me. But if you're cooking, I'll eat whatever you make, especially if you wear that apron I like.
Liz and I cringe at that.
Is she going to wear that apron? You're
no.
Like, what is
she
the
doesn't
apron?
have an apron.
What is the
She doesn't have an apron.
She doesn't. She goes on natural. She doesn't need the apron.
It's like an old T-shirt. She has like a bronze What's the Vineyard thing? She has like a Browns
Vineyard Vines.
There you go. She has like a T-shirt of that, or something like that.
With the whale.
Yeah, that's it. The whale. Yeah,
Well, she's cooking for the whale. She might
I'm glad I did that the way I did that. I'm glad I didn't go to ChatGPT. That's terrible.
Just always here as a resource. That's all I'm saying. I have the subscription.
Find out.
Whatever you need.
You just want to get me divorced. And then, I know what this is. You want to get me divorced, and then you get a reason to get divorced, and then you're going to go, Ken, we can go skiing together. You never wanted to before. Now we can do it together. Does Shador deserve to play over, I almost said Dylan Gabriel, over Deshaun Watson? I'm so nervous about when my phone lights up.
A bunch of people just called in immediately. What's the phone number?
They want to call in and talk about Wagyu.
We'll get back to the...
It's not a Snoop Dogg apron, YouTube, okay? It's not that.
That's great.
People are saying, I don't know the beef. No, I know the beef.
It's what's for dinner.
Yes, it is. Deserve is the operative word. Does Shador deserve to play over Deshaun Watson? Answer the question.
Of course not. Of course not. We're not doing deserves. We're doing earned. Has he earned that yet?
But the question has.
I really thought you were going to say something else.
Yeah. If he earned it, then fine. Right now, I don't know. Has Shador earned anything? It seems like they're giving him reps at the end of practice out of pity. I don't know what that is.
See, you throw these words out there, and it just sounds bad. When you say the word pity,
remember when
it sounds like me texting my wife with ChatGPT. That can't.
So what was
be
the
done.
preseason? You had asked me, or we'd gotten into a huge fight. You got all red and fired up on a fight in the preseason when I'm like, yeah, it seems like they elevated Shador because they had nobody else. Remember that? Remember it was the Kenny Pickett injury, and then Shador starting. You're like, well, they must think that he's ready, and I'm like, no, they didn't. He got moved up because they didn't have enough time to.
That's why they brought in Snoop Huntley.
That's right.
Thursday, and they played a game on Saturday.
Yeah, so I think that's part of it. I hope I hear all the right things.
He deserves it.
Well, hold on, real quick. I hear behind the scenes now they're like, well, we got to get the message out. But I also heard that. When Johnny Manziel was battling with Brian Hoyer, Johnny's doing all the right things. Johnny is doing all the right
things.
Remember
they called him a savant.
Yeah, a savant, yes. He has the aptitude. I remember aptitude was one of the terms. So I'm like, are they just saying that because...
It's like when Peter Griffin knew how to play the piano only when drunk. Continue, sorry.
So I just want to make sure if he's truly earned it, then yes, I'll throw deserves around then.
What does Deshaun Watson done to deserve it?
But if he hasn't,
what did he do to deserve it? Then?
Well,
what did he do?
What did he do to earn the contract?
Nothing.
He was a top 5 quarterback in the league.
You're right. Excuse me. At one point, he was a top 5 quarterback in the league. At one point, he was. What has he done to now go out there and play 4 years later?
Is he putting the work in?
Is Shador not putting the work in?
I don't know.
That's the thing.
I hear lots of things.
I know one guy has a whole bunch of Instagram videos out there, him working out and running around and all the other things like that. I'm sure Shador has done a lot of work. So it doesn't mean that Shador isn't working. Just because he has to take extra reps or pity reps, as you call them, doesn't mean he's not actively working to try to get better. See, that's what I don't like what you're doing about this. And when it comes to deserve, you know what? I'm just going to go about it and ask the fans. Which one wouldn't you boo when they run out of the tunnel to start for your Cleveland Browns? I'm willing to bet 10 out of 10 say Shador. So you know what? It's an entertainment business, and right now you're 1-4, and you will get to a point right now. It's not going to be Shador on Sunday, and it ain't going to be Shador next Sunday, and probably not the Sunday after that, especially because you're going to have bye weeks then. It's not going to be Shador. It's still going to be Dylan Gabriel for a set period of time at some point. But the next guy who goes through that tunnel, who needs to start for your Cleveland Browns, has to be Shador Sanders, because you just can't make the fans mad. It's insane. Yeah, he makes a lot of money. He's getting all his money. He gets all his glorious money that you're paying him. But I have a choice to move forward now where he's not going to be a part of my future. I'm not going to get fooled again. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. I will force myself in love
I just want to make sure.
Any of the quarterbacks playing on Saturday. I will force my... I don't want to say that I'm going to completely go away from reality and force myself to love a quarterback who's struggling. But I'm going to tell you right now that I will throw my lot in with any of the other guys before I go with Deshaun Watson. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. If you can't be fooled me once, you can't get fooled again. George W. Bush. Ain't gonna happen.
But you're looking at it all from the perspective of from Deshaun Watson. I'm saying
yes.
that the Browns, when it came to Johnny Manziel, they just gave him the opportunity.
It was Johnny.
Because of the fans.
But you're not just giving...
Because of the fans. I don't want them to do that
They gave
again.
him the opportunity when the team was still in the playoff picture. You're going to be 2 and whatever by the time Shador plays. So it does me no good to just make the fans in my stadium that much more angrier when they're going to the game, probably because we're going to be around the holidays and you're going to football games and going to that event because you don't want to be around the family at home. So you go, well, we're going to go to the game. And you go to the game. I don't want to make them mad by having the guy they don't like running out there. At least give them a chance to go,
listen.
hey, even if I didn't really like the guy coming out of college, at least we'll see if he's got something. I've maybe been wrong before. Maybe I'll be wrong again. Or there's going to be guys like Peterlin who really, really, really love him. Or there's going to be guys like me who like him and going to go, hey, let's hope and let's see. And if not, fine. He's a 5th-round guy, and we'll just go to somebody else. I'll have to deal with the fallout from the fans who say we never gave him a chance to this, that, and the other. Fine. I'm used to that. That's okay. But I just want to give the fans a chance to put a smile on their face instead of go, you're running out here now. Great.
You know, as Mitch always tells us before each and every show, when you start listening to the fans... I thought Mitch was going to finish the sentence.
No. Okay. He's not good. He's not listening.
Is he listening to the show?
Absolutely not. 216-474-0092. The decision was made yesterday. I got give me 30 seconds on that. 30 seconds. I want to do Champions Post. That and we got to get to you guys. Promise. All you guys. Does Shador deserve to play over Deshaun? Yes, 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 because of the fans on the fan. KC Roofing.
Focus on growing, not juggling. Make the switch today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
There's only one place for a full recap of practice in Berea. Overtime with Jake Volnick. Weeknights at 7. 92.3 The Fan.
Before we get to the phones, were you surprised, disappointed? What were your feelings about loving it? What did you think of LeBron's decision, his second decision?
I would have been devastated if I were holding tickets to the Cavs-Lakers game over at Rocket Arena.
What happened to the ticket prices? You got to do a market watch real quick.
My God, we said on the air yesterday that they were... Mitch came on and told us they were, many of them in 4 digits.
Like, do you want to do a market watch
we
right
can,
now?
yeah.
Hell yeah.
My mission is simple, to make you money. I'm here to level the playing field for all investors. There's always a bull market somewhere, and I promise to help you find it. Mad Money starts now.
The 500 level tickets yesterday when there was anticipation that there could be a huge announcement, this could be it, and we would have a final LeBron game.
200 level.
What I call 500. Yeah. The tickets yesterday, they were more expensive than NBA Finals tickets ever were. The most it would have been the most expensive Cavs game ever. And since then, when they were over 4 digits, over $1,000, since then, they're still really high, but they all came down, significantly. Most of them were cut in half. You can sit in the upper deck, for I'm seeing $318. I'm seeing some of those, but it's still really expensive. But boy, did they plummet!
Still LeBron. Yeah, they had to have plummeted. I wasn't surprised. I was like, probably is going to be. It's 22 years. It might be a retirement, and because he's going to go on a retirement tour because he wants to be an owner, and this is one of the things that owners do to take care of themselves. So he wants to be that, and he will be an owner in the NBA. Watch it be Seattle or something like that instead of Las Vegas. But he'll be an owner in the NBA, and that's one of the things that guys do who are NBA owners to take care of each other, and he'll do that. But I was surprised it was Hennessy. Just because I thought it was going to be, if it was going to be an advertisement, I thought it was going to be Amazon, and it ended up being Hennessy, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I was at least a little bit close, but still
leaving off the VSOP, which is the important part of that.
What's that?
It's cognac, right?
Yeah,
cognac. I'm not really familiar.
I hadn't heard Hennessy since 2004, when you of course mixed it with Hypnotic.
Of course, yes. I didn't see that in the commercial yesterday.
Those were the days.
I will say, we know LeBron doesn't just do, you get paid a lot of money to do an ad. No, he gets paid a lot of money and then also gets part of the business.
Yes.
So I just don't even I can't even comprehend how much money he's gonna be worth even 10 years from now.
What a businessman. Unbelievable. Chuck in Crocker Park, you're first up on the Fan. Hello.
How you doing today? Hold on, bro. I'm on the ladder. Let me get down from here.
Chuck, you got to be careful.
So
Go ahead.
It's on top of Crocker Park.
Now I'm out here working. So I will say this about the Ken Carman. You said that the class next year, I called last week. You said the class next year has some guys that's better than Shador Sanders. And since then, I've heard you say it's no hope. So I just want to call you out on that because you said I was exposed for not knowing what I was talking about.
What are you talking about? Well,
Kenny.
I don't remember the call, a-hole, so I got to ask him now. What are you talking about?
I don't call him an a-hole.
Yeah, that was a nice call.
Come on now. He got an argument. He's right.
Wait a minute. I don't know what I'm wrong about. What am I wrong about?
I said when I last called who from next year's class is going to be great. Better than Shador Sanders. You said, what are you doing? Are you not watching college? You just got exposed because you don't watch college. You brought up a few names. Lenore Sanders was one of them. I just want to say, since then, you said it's no hope from the past.
I didn't say there was no. There's no way I said there was no hope. There's no way I said there was no hope. Hell, I just got done 8 minutes ago saying I was going to throw my lot in behind anybody. I didn't say there was going to. No, there's hope. There's Dante Moore that's hopeful. There's Fernando Mendoza that's hopeful. I think Garrett Nussmeier is playing injured. I think that Lenore Sellers is playing injured. Now those guys have fallen.
None of them better than the guy we got.
We don't know that. We have no idea because we're going to have two guys. All right, well, Chuck, I gotta let you go, but thank you very much for the call. And if you end up being right, go ahead and come after me for it again. That's fine. Shador will get his chance, and you will get a chance to look at Fernando Mendoza and Dante Moore, and they will go after each other, and we'll get to talk about that. Both are over 6'3". Both seem to have good, strong arms. One is actually, I think, from here, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll get to see what each one of them have later on this weekend. But you will have a decision to make when Shador plays before Deshaun Watson because he deserves it. You will have a decision to make. Is what Shador doing better than what you've seen from any one of these guys in college? So far, a lot of these guys just aren't passing the test.
I like to think Jordan Love with
Drew Aller, not doing it. So far, Garrett Nussmeier, not doing it. Carson Beck, I got my reservations. I really do. There's other names out there, but we're running out of time. Trust me, we have until next April. All right. Big thanks to Jason. Big thanks to Ken Wyman, James Rapine, Andrew Filipponi. They all went around the AFC North with us. Jason was awesome. Listen to him, 923thefan.com. We're back tomorrow, 6 to 10. Watch The guys in the afternoon on YouTube Live later on today, 2 to 7. Have a wonderful day, my friends.
Thank you for
Go
paying
Cavs.
attention and making sure that you're not booing, but you clap.
Hey,
sounds good. Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show.
Loser town, loser fans, and you guys are a loser show.
I don't give a damn about the Browns at all.
This is Boomer Esiason with an Odyssey Sports Minute. Hey, Baker Mayfield gets my first game ball of the week for out-dueling Sam Darnold. What a game. Other offensive heroes include Carolina running back Rico Dowdle and New England wideout Stephon Diggs, who took revenge on Buffalo. New Orleans Kool-Aid McKinstry, gotta love that name, folks, and Houston's Jalen Petrie took top defensive honors. San Fran's Eddie Pinheiro gets the nod on special teams, and Nolan's Kellen Moore gets my coaching game ball for his first victory.